It's a Friday night, of course, and what does that mean? It's America's Day at the Races, and we've got some great harness racing action coming your way all night long. It promises to be a jam-packed evening because tonight, it's another big night in Anderson, Indiana. That's right, the Breeders' Crown is just 2 weeks away, but we've got some great standardbred racing action here tonight, and we're going to see some of the best standardbreds at Hoosier Park. It is a jam-packed schedule, big purse money throughout. It's the Indiana Sire Stakes right here on FS1. And taking a look at the lineup here tonight, 4-year-olds. Colts, geldings, pace, you're going to see that a lot throughout the evening, but a big lineup, and again, big purse money throughout the evening, $250,000 across the board, so you know when the money shows up, the big horses are going to show up as well. So we're going to be at Hoosier Park. We got plenty of members on our team, and we got a couple decent guys here at the desk as well. It's going to be Chris Griffin joining you here. Paul Verderosa, of course, our analyst, taking care of all the harness action. A big night at Hoosier Park. We're here in New York, but there's a lot of money there at Hoosier.
Yeah, that's the great part about tonight, just to see how far the Indiana Standardbred program for breeders has come in the past 5-10 years, just to see all of these horses now go out there for $250,000 for the majority of the races. This is big money for them, and it's also big time for the breeders as well, because they get to swell up a little bit. They get to puff up a little bit to see their horses out there in action. Ready
to spend the next couple hours with you. We're looking forward to it, but you got to get involved as well, and you can always do that at Naira Bets. You can sign up, bet any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Sign up today, get that $200 deposit match bonus with that promo code MATCH200. Enjoy betting on over 300 tracks around the world and start winning today. You can join now at nairabets.com. Taking a look as we are right on the cusp of having race number 4 come up here, and not a $250,000 race in this purse, but a $50,000 purse. Not too shabby, but a big favorite right now in the 2, and that's Buzzsaw Russ.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to end up ultimately landing in this spot, Chris. I just loved the way that he kind of puffed up last week. You could see it. He had this perfect pocket trip, but he looked like a winner every step of the way. And when he got showed open road in the stretch, I mean, he was gone. He just paced away from the field in that spot. Came home in 25-2, 149-4 was a really solid time for him in that spot. And he's going to have his hands full because he's got little Rocket Man in here, who's a 78-time winner lifetime from 136 starts, closing in on the $2 million mark. But that guy right there, it's about Buzzsaw Russ for me. I think he's got one more big effort in him tonight, just like last week.
There you have it. You have the 2, Buzzsaw Russ and Dexter done with the driving duties. The 6, Michael Oosting, there on Little Rocket Man. And so the 2 and the 6 taking all the action, but we can't do it by ourselves, of course. We got to go trackside. And we got the wonderful Jessica Otten and Gabe Pruitt. Welcome to you guys. Good evening, and some great harness action right where you guys are.
Some great harness action on tap. Over $2 million up for grabs tonight, Gabe. This is the night that the Indiana horsemen wait for and work for all season long.
It's Indiana Super Night. The legs of these races started way back on Memorial Day in late May. Horses have qualified through a series of 6 or 8 races over the course of the entire summer, and it all comes down to tonight with the big money on the line.
Lots of horses, getting to face up and meet each other once again. We've got winning streaks on the line. We have a world record holder on tap later on as well, Gabe. We're going to kick off the show tonight with the Indiana Sire Stakes Super Final for the older pacers. Very deep group of horses we have here, horses that we've seen on the Grand Circuit, trial before. Buzzsaw Russ, Coach Stefano's, Little Rocket Man. It really speaks for the Indiana program.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, such a great program. This just, as you mentioned, for age pacers, it's the only event on tonight's show that won't be for 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds. So we get to see some of the veteran stars. The veteran statesman here is the horse you're taking a look at the monitor. That's Little Rocket Man. He's a 9-year-old. I think there's 1 6-year-old in this field. The rest just 4 or 5. So by a good margin, the 6 Little Rocket Man, the elder statesman, 78-time career winner. He's 10 of 17 this season alone. Earned well over $1.9 million. He's the second choice. I'm a little surprised by that here in the early wagering, as you see that starting gate beginning to move into position.
Yeah, Little Rocket Man, his best season, of course, came at the age of 8 too. You went elsewhere. Buzzsaw Russ Missy Essig, Dexter Dunn in town for the drive here. Another sharp horse coming into this race, and a horse who's had plenty of success here over the Hoosier Park Oval.
No question. He's a 5-year-old. He's earned over $800,000. Was a convincing winner here and an elimination for this race last Friday night. I thought we'd get second choice status, but there's the man of the bike, driver Dexter Dunn. He's just taking a ton of tote activity here on Buzzsaw Russ. Really had it as a bit of a jump ball between these two, Jess. Hey, you know who's the driver's seat here? How about Russell Beeman? He's the co-owner of the 2 Buzzsaw Russ over $800,000. He also co-owns a 6 Little Rocket Man for $1.9 million. So Russell, has ownership stake in both. He lives right here in the town of Anderson, Indiana.
You know, a great thing about the program as well, it shows how much that they paid from Little Rocket Man, a Hoosier Classic purchase for just $18,000, and then come back with Buzzsaw Russ for a $52,000 purchase. Race 4 is up next. It's the Indiana Sire Stakes Superfinal for the age pacers. Michael Chamberlain has your call.
An all-star field getting ready to move in behind the Midwest Standardbred horse sale starting gate. First leg of the pick 6 on races 4 through 9 with a carryover of $664. 6-5 on Buzzsaw Russ. 7-5 on Little Rocket Man. Field is now in the stretch. Here they come. They are up. At the inside, Buzzsaw Russ and Noblesville. From the center, it's Little Rocket Man moving up. Dale Yeah gets away in 4th. MM's Bud and Coach Stefanos are together, followed by Rolling Image, then Shooting in Place, and Panda Warrior is 9th and last early on. Moving on to the first turn, and Little Rocket Man takes the lead now from Buzzsaw Russ, who will sit 2nd, following a quarter of 26 and 2. Next in 3rd, that's Noblesville, and then a length and a half further, Dale Yeah. MM's Bud is racing 5th. After that, it's Coach Stefanos. Rolling Images 7th, then Shooting in Place, and Panda Warrior as they move up the back stretch, and Little Rocket Man at the point. Little Rocket Man and Michael Oosting out front. Next in 2nd is Buzzsaw Russ, and Noblesville is 3rd through a half mile of 54 and 2. 28 seconds for the second quarter. Little Rocket Man is the leader. Buzzsaw Russ tracks in 2nd, then Noblesville. Dale Yeah, and out of the outside goes MM's Bud, and MM's Bud tries to advance from mid-pack. Coach Stefanos also elects to go to the outside, then Rolling Image and Shooting in Place. Panda Warrior is still the trailer. As they come to the top of the stretch, Little Rocket Man is the one to catch. 3/4 time, 1:22 and 1. Buzzsaw Russ angles out from 2nd and now tries to move up on Little Rocket Man. Noblesville down on the pylons, and also trying to come on is Coach Stefanos. Buzzsaw Russ has taken over. It's Buzzsaw Russ now in front. Coach Stefanos closing in. MM's Bud is also on the scene late, but it is Buzzsaw Russ to win. Coach Stefanos was 2nd, then MM's Bud, a photo for 4th. Noblesville and Little Rocket Man, 1:48 and 4.
And there you saw it as we kick things off here on our coverage on FS1, and it was the number 2 Buzzsaw Russ, and that man Dexter Dunn, and a name that you might get very familiar with throughout the evening. 2, 5, 4, 6. Let's go to Gabe trackside with more from that performance there from the 2 Buzzsaw Russ.
Well, Chris, I think this one worked out exactly like driver Dexter Dunn would have liked for it to do so, and there's a reason why he's the top driver in the world right now. He got to sit and draft on the horse that everyone would love to follow. That was ultimately the favorite, Little Rocket Man, who did tire off some pretty fast fractions here, but Buzzsaw Russ, he takes full advantage. I know the margin here is going to be about 3/4 of a length, guys, but if you really take a look at Dexter's body language through the stretch, Buzzsaw Russ seemed to be geared down. I think this is going to be a much easier victory than what that margin is going to indicate. It was a good late rally from last year's Breeders' Crown champion, Coach Stefanos. He got away 6th in this contest, did rally quite nicely, but it was Buzzsaw Russ here off as a slight second choice at 6-5.
There you saw it. You saw Buzzsaw Russ get the victory. Gabe with the selection. Paul V, you had the same selection as well, and Buzzsaw Russ, very confident drive there from Dexter Dunn.
Yeah, this was almost a complete repeat of what happened back on October 3rd last week. Literally sat pocket. You could see him puff up there. You knew he had a ton of horse turning for home. Showed him open road, and once again, he just paced on by and did it easily. Little Rocket Man gave way. A nice second over trip for Coach Stefanos. Ended up being second in here, and MM's Bud had to take in all that air. First over, ended up third in this spot, but there was no doubt about the winner. Like Gabe said, this was an easier win than the margin suggests.
And as they came to the stretch and you were taking a look at it, and you even mentioned, Little Rocket Man, Oosting took a quick look to the left, but the pressure was coming from the right because he was moving right around there with Buzzsaw Russ.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it was just the easiest of trips for him. And you couldn't have, mapped this out any better than what happened here. This was the exact same trip last week, and it parlayed into a nice win.
Favorite gets the job done. Top selections here from the desk and there at Hoosier Park. We're going to come on back here on America's Day at the Races. We're going to talk about odds on Mr. Mamba, the fastest 2-year-old ever. Plenty more. We just got it started here tonight on America's Day at the Races.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Back here on FS1, it's America's Day at the Races, and of course, it's brought to you in part by Naira Bets. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Speaking of getting started, we just got our evening underway here on the desk from our New York studio, and we've had a victory here from my man Paul Verderosa with the top selection. Buzzsaw Russ, second choice, looked like second choice, and we're taking a look at a replay right now, and kind of what we explained before we went to break, but here we see it one more time.
Yeah, crystal clear repeat of what happened on October 3rd for this horse. Was able to sit comfortably in the pocket when Little Rocket Man decided to go on with it early. Tipped out, had nice pace down the stretch, and was able to go right on by that rival, and did it with relative ease. You can see Dexter Dunn on the bike. His hands are not moving at all. Right there, he kind of highlined the horse a little bit just to say, all right, bet your business, a little whip tap there, another one there. But this was about as easy as it comes and was able to hold off the late charging Coach Stefanos and MM's Bud in that spot.
$50,000 purse, and Buzzsaw Russ gets the job done. Dexter Dunn, a name that we may hear a few times here tonight. We'll find out more. But you get MM's Bud in there in that trifecta. Some pretty nice payouts there.
Yeah, especially considering that little Rocket Man ended up 4th in there, so not bad payouts if you had it.
Plenty of value to be had there. And now we get into some of our super finals here on the evening, and we're going to take a look at race number 5. Right now, Rock Shines Again is currently sitting at 3-5. It's Trace Tetrick with that $250,000. Looks wide open to you, or do you really feel like the 5 is kind of dialed in here at that number?
I think that that's a price that you're going to have to take on a horse who's now won 12 races in a row. And it's funny, too, because you wait for the other shoe to drop, right, with these horses that have won 5 in a row, 10 in a row, 12 in a row, 15 in a row. And they just hold their form sometimes against who they're facing. I mean, they can't help who they're facing in these races. But in a case like this, I think that this is a horse that's going to be odds on in this spot to try and get that unlucky or lucky 13, if you will, for big money.
Yeah, winning streaks are definitely on the line tonight. And you just mentioned odds on. Of course, we're taking a look at race number 10 in the horse, odds on Mr. Mamba. And you take a look at, from a value standpoint and trying to catch some prices, this is not your horse. He hasn't been throughout the year, but it's because odds on Mr. Mamba has been that dominant.
Oh, another horse who's on a 9-race heater. And when I say heater, I mean heater, because last time out going 147-4, that was right there, the fastest 2-year-old harness horse ever.
Yeah.
So when you consider the fact that, yes, maybe the track was playing a little fast that night anyway, it does not matter because this horse was on his game. And yeah, Dex chased him a little bit in the lane, Dexter Dunn, I mean. But it's still a world record performance. I mean, he went the back half in 53-3. I mean, do you want him to go faster this time? I mean, you can't ask for anything more, and he did it straight and strong to the line.
And you were also mentioning before the show, and you were talking about odds on Mr. Mamba. I mean, as a 2-year-old, these are kind of his last chances here. I mean, we were talking about the Breeders' Crown, but he's got to really kind of just go for it at this point, and maybe that's why you are seeing some of these faster times.
Correct. Well, I mean, that could be part of it, but also you have to remember that, unfortunately for us, as well as the connections, odds on Mr. Mamba is not Breeders' Crown eligible, so you will not see him in 2 weeks facing the best of the best, and that's unfortunate. But so these races may actually be his Breeders' Crown for him, and but listen, he doesn't need it.
Melanie Wren with the training duties, and our Jessica Ott, she had a chance to catch up with the connections.
Thanks, guys. I have trainer Melanie Wren, who trains odds on Mr. Mamba. First and foremost, obviously a spectacular 2-year-old. Let's go back to the beginning. Talk about his progression, because he obviously started off, his only loss of the year was that first start, and then he's just progressed ever since.
Yes, he has. Peter's done like an amazing job with him. He like when he started off driving him, he's like not going to just like gun him the first time. So he raced him exactly how he wanted to do the first time. And he pretty much knew right then he was a really nice colt, but I don't think he knew he was quite as nice as he is. So we're very fortunate to have the colt.
Speaking of nice colt, he looks like he's pretty nice out on the track. What's he like in the barn?
He's just a pleasure. Everything about him, he has no bad habits. And I mean, he's just like a pet.
Odds on Racing, Mr. Dana Parham, of course. This is a homebred for him. He puts a lot of money back into the business. I bet it's pretty exciting to get to train a horse like this for him.
I am so glad that Dana got a horse like this. If anybody deserves a horse like odds on Mr. Mamba, it is Dana Parham. He does put a lot of money into the industry, and he is great for our sport.
Now, a couple weeks ago, or I guess a week ago now, that world record performance came out of odds on Mr. Mamba. I don't think I saw you in the winner's circle, but what were you thinking when that time popped up?
Oh my, you know what? When you said it, I just got the chills again. I was watching the race. I was looking at yearlings, and I just didn't make it back here in time. And I said, you know what? I think he's going to go 149 again. And when the timer popped up, it was like, absolutely no way. I mean, it was crazy.
I know there were lots of smiles in the winner's circle that night. Of course, Dexter doing the driving there. He'll do the driving again tonight. We wish you all the best of luck.
Great. Thanks, Jess.
We'll send it back to you guys.
And there were the connections there, odds on Mr. Mamba. And talking about world record times, I mean, to put it in perspective, I mean, odds on Mr. Mamba has really had a lot of accolades throughout the season, but world record holder, that's a big title.
Yeah, that's a big step up for him, considering early on he was racing 150, 149, and then to step it up to that 147 was huge in that spot. Great barn, too, behind him with Melanie Wren. They do a great job. She's having a great year, too, this year.
1-9 later on.
We'll
Short
see.
price.
She's definitely going to be a short price.
All right. We're going to find out plenty more with odds on Mr. Mamba, the world record holder, going to be in tonight's 10th race. Of course, that $250,000. We're going to come on back. We're going to talk about Rock Shines again. Will the Rock stay perfect in 2025? Still lots more to come. Come on the other side here on FS1, America's Day at the Races.
Hard seven.
We breed champions. 2025 yearlings selling at Lexington Selected Yearling Sale, Midwest Standardbred Horse Sale, Standardbred Horse Sale, Harrisburg. Including yearlings by Walner, Chapter 7, Muscle Hill, King of the North, Captain Treacherous, and many more. Visit CountryLaneStandardbreds.com.
Join us at Hannah's Hoosier Park for a ghoulish good time with Bright Night at the Races. With trunk or treating, an inflatable corn maze, pumpkin giveaway, and our annual horse costume contest, the whole family will have a frighteningly good night. Not to mention all the edge of your seat thrills of live racing. Bright Night begins at 5 p.m. October 25th. Ha ha ha!
Saturday on America's Day at the Races, join Maggie Wolfendale on track live for the 40th edition of Jim McKay Maryland Million Day from Laurel Park. Back-to-back stakes races, including the Maryland Million Classic. Coverage begins noon Eastern on FS2. Weekends are for winners at Naira Bets. Opt into the Late Pick 5 hit and split bonuses to claim your share of $5,000 every Friday through Sunday. $5,000 hit and splits every weekend when you bet with Naira Bets.
Great shot there at Hoosier Park, Harris Hoosier Park. America's Day at the Races right here on FS1. As we have just gotten underway, we've seen one race that was a pretty strong performance there from Buzzsaw Russ, and we're going to see another great race coming up. $250,000 big purse money throughout the night. Rock Shines again, currently sitting at 3-5, but maybe goes a little bit deeper than just the 3-5 favorite. I know not for you, but there's a few other contenders in this spot.
Sure, you could make a case, or sort of a case, for a couple of horses in here. As a matter of fact, the horse that we're going to see now, Bikini Chaser, who's on the front end in this spot, will ultimately get beat by Rock Shines again. But I have to say, Bikini Chaser's case, he's starting to turn into a real racehorse too, because that's the most aggressive they've been with him, you know, leaving and brushing to the top, and he kind of dug in there. I mean, he did get ultimately outpaced to the wire by a horse who's now on a 12-race heater, and Rock Shines again. It was 1-5 in that spot. But that effort was a solid one for Bikini Chaser. We'll see, you know, if there's more to that ceiling tonight for him. And I mean, Rock Shines again. I mean, I don't think Trace Teacher could have drawn it up any better than he did. You know, you get away fifth, you flush out cover, and then you're able to just have that second over trip, get open road, and just run away from the field.
Do you feel like that separation, though? I mean, that's what the bettor's going to be looking at. And when you look at a Bikini Chaser in that spot, it wasn't that long ago. So with that separation from the rest of the field, maybe you feel like if Bikini Chaser gets to jump again, maybe he can hold off the Rock this time.
We'll see what happens. I mean, everybody loves to see those ones down a column. You know, when you see a lot of those ones, you're going to bet them.
Post-parade time here as we are getting ready for the fifth. It's our first super final of the evening. Again, $250,000. Taking a look at the one, Dave Miller at Starlit Miller time.
He's had a little trouble in long shots against this level lately.
Another long shot, Special Pete.
Yeah, struggle 0-for-16 this year. Still looking for that first win of the season.
14-1 right now on the 3. Kyle Wolfong, book the fight.
Just didn't have a good trip last time out. Draws better today. We'll see what we get.
One of those mid-range prices here, Yannick Gingras, the 4 Avanti.
Not a bad effort last time out. Kind of left and then just kind of got shuffled a little bit. But we'll see if we get a little better performance tonight.
Your top selection here. There's the 5 Rock Shines again.
Yeah, looking for 13 in a row tonight. Probably the same trip as well. Get off a helmet and then make one late run.
13 in a row would be a big accomplishment. The family man, there's the 6.
Came from off the pace last time. Finished third at a number.
All right, there is the 6, and we're going to take a look at the 7 here. Plenty of friends, right? Chandler Bing.
Yeah, and that was third last time out, coming off a couple of qualifiers. Probably needed the race.
Maybe one of the main threats, or one of the threats definitely from our replay there, that's the 8 Bikini Chaser.
Yeah, I liked what I saw last time, especially the aggression leaving.
Here's the 9, and that's going to be some more soaring currently at 8-1.
Did a little dirty work last time out with the first overbid before giving way late. Easier trip tonight? Maybe not so from that post.
And not one completely without chance here. The 10 and Deal the Odds.
Moved out before the half last time, was third over in the flow, and got fed racetrack in the stretch, found another gear, did get up for that win. Now his second tier posted tonight, though.
Talking about Deal the Odds and someone soaring, coming back in this post parade, but taking a look at the race. This was back on October 3rd. It was later on the card. What did you see from these 2 performances here, and how is that going to stack up against Rock Shines again?
Well, for someone soaring in this spot, I mean, that's the horse you probably would want out of this race, just considering that he ended up doing all the dirty work last time. He was first over for a long time, took in a lot of that air in front of him, and kind of gave way late slow, so I'm sure that trip took a little steam out of him late in this race, whereas Deal the Odds, moved out into the flow, was third over in that spot, was able to flip off cover. You see him on the far outside and pacing away hard there at the end to get up in the shadow of the wire to get the job done in that spot. So, but now they're drawn the 9 hole for someone soaring and Deal the Odds as that 10 hole, which is not the best spot to be. So we'll see what kind of trip we get. We know that Deal the Odds is going to come from off the pace anyway in this spot.
And are we forgetting? I mean, Chandler Bing is 5-1 right here tonight. And Chandler Bing, you take a look at that same replay. Chandler Bing was right in that trifecta too, if you're taking a look at it.
Yeah, came home in 26-3 and probably needed that start as well, coming off the 2 qualifiers, having not raced since 4th of July in that spot. So maybe get a little bit of action on this horse today, coming from off the pace at 5-1.
So we're making all these cases for some of these other horses, but you really think the 13 in a row happens here with Rock Shines again. What is setting the 5 so much further apart than the rest? Is it the winning knack, or is it just basically just faster?
I know that he's pulled good trips, but it's with the ease that he's been able to win these races and the trips he's been able to pull. He's been able to dictate his own race and find his spot and then be able to launch off of it. So for me, I know he's 3-5, and I'm not too keen on taking favorites all of the time, but in this spot, I'm going to give him a shot in here. He's drawn well. He's drawn better than the 7 and the 9 in this spot, so I'm looking for the same trip he had last week.
You talk about the 7 and the 9, but Jessica's gone with the 7, Gabe's gone with the 9, so maybe the upset is brewing here tonight. A 3-5 favorite. You don't see it that way, but what kind of trip do you think it is going to take in order to be able to maybe hold off that late charge from Rock Shines again? Got to be in front?
I think if he gets beat, he's going to get beat in front of him and not behind him.
Okay.
I believe that.
And who do you think is going to be that main speed contender that's going to be able to just kind of take it all the way alone?
It'll be interesting to see what Bikini Chaser does at 18-1, because I think he kind of found sort of the elixir last week of taking it to him, being aggressive with him. Maybe he's sitting on another big effort in here. For my money, I would probably go 5-8. 7-9 in the spot.
Okay, and if I'm taking a look at the 5, and Trace Tetrick, he's obviously going to be driving the number 5, but he had some experience with the 9 as well, if I'm taking a look at that correctly, and some more soaring.
Yeah.
Picks up Dexter Dunn, so obviously some decisions were made, but the decision was probably made by Trace Tetrick in this spot.
Yeah, and I mean, he's driving obviously for Tyler George. They're both Tyler George horses, so he knows what he's sitting behind. But Dex is not a bad catch pickup in that spot.
Yeah, it should be an exciting race coming up. Don't forget, you can always get involved in the action with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. You can visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. You know, we've got an exciting thing coming up with those QR codes and those selections a little bit later on.
Yeah, I'm a little QR code,
You're learning?
I don't want to say learning, but I had an issue last time we popped a QR code on the screen.
Well, here's a little tease for the audience out there. If you have a phone, you're going to be able to see that QR code, and it's going to get you dialed in, and it's going to take you to possibly your selections in a possible multi-leg wager that could be happening a little bit later on tonight, race 6 in a pick 4. But it'll get you right in with Naira Bets, and it's going to give you that ticket, and they can punch your ticket right there.
Without a doubt, and it's super easy to do. Don't let me dissuade you on that, because I'm tech stupid sometimes.
I think the pressure's on. You know that people are going to be scanning this QR code and they're going to be following Paul all night.
Scan away, baby. Let's send it in. Let's get the money on this.
Taking a look at some of the big long shots here towards the inside. When you do have the 5 sitting in a pretty good position, I mean, when they do leave the gate, do you just feel like Rock Shines again, where he's spotted, where the post position is, everything just kind of falls in favor to the favorite.
On paper, he's definitely faster than the 1, the 2. We'll see what the attention is with the 3. 3 starts back. He kind of went to the front. It was a 27 quarter. We'll see what they do with Avanti as well. Last time out, he left for position and then kind of got shuffled around in that spot. But he's definitely faster than quite a few of those inside horses, so we'll see where he lands.
And for this level, I mean, take me there a little bit. When you talk about 27 quarter and some of the newer folks that are watching us and maybe haven't seen us throughout the season, but what times should we be looking for some of these, maybe these big closers, or what kind of time should we be clicking off for some of these top performers?
Honestly, it's all going to depend on intent leaving the gate. I mean, you know, if you're on a horse that likes to be forwardly placed, obviously your best bet is to go forward regardless of how fast they are going up front. I mean, obviously you don't want to burn up your horse, but unfortunately the intent of others around you is going to dictate where you're going to go. So for me, we'll see how fast the track is playing. We saw in the last race, our first race on the show, they went 26-2, and then they backed it down to a 54-2, so they got a 28 second half. So, again, leave with intent, try and back it down if you're in the front, and see where you shake out. Remember, you got a pretty long stretch here at Hoosier, so.
Sure.
But if they're running fast in front, you're going to have to run faster in the back to catch up with them.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things. I mean, we did see it in the last race because we were able to see Coach Stefanos, who's always been a big closer, right? We know that style. Yeah. Was able to close into some of those fractions, but just couldn't quite get there.
No, and again, it all depends if there was a lot of action. There wasn't a lot of action in that race early on. You know, they were able, Little Rocket Man was able to establish the front, backed it down for a 28-second quarter there, and that's going to hurt some of your closers that are in the back of the pack when they slow the pace down a little bit.
Gabe and Jess, trackside with plenty more.
Rock Shines again is currently 12 for 12, Gabe, in his 3-year-old campaign. He's looking to remain perfect here with the big money on the line.
No question, he's a horse to beat. Post 5, the most successful post here at Hoosier Park as well. And he's really been done nothing wrong, Jess. I will say his last couple of win margins, just by 3/4 of a length, those are the closest 2 margins he's had in that 12-race run. So, you know, you have to ask yourself, you know, is he continuing to peak, or are they getting a little closer? Are they catching up to him? I think the main danger here through Rock Shines again could be the stablemate. That's number 9, Some More Soaring. They raced against each other just 2 weeks back at the Hoosier Cup. Some More Soaring had a little traffic trouble when he shook loose. He was absolutely flying late to be a very good second there to his stablemate. So I think this one goes through the Tyler George barn. He's been the leading trader here at Hoosier Park for 6 consecutive seasons.
Yeah, Some More Soaring also picks up Dexter Dunn. They get post 5 to work with. They're getting a nice juicy price at 7-1. All eyes are going to be on Rock Shines again as he looks to remain undefeated in his 3-year-old campaign. Michael Chamberlain has your call.
Fifth race field, moving in behind the Midwest Standardbred Horse Sale starting gate, beginning the pick 8 on races 5 through 12. $10,000 guarantee and a mandatory payout on the pick 8 tonight. 1-2 on Rock Shines again, trying to make it 13 for 13 this year. They are off. And moving out for the lead, Avanti. Special Pete is to the inside. Rock Shines again, well-positioned 3rd. Then Bikini Chaser, Some More Soaring up on the outside. Book the Fight is down on the inside. Then comes Starlit Miller Time, who is on the pylons. Up into 8th is Deal the Odds. And the last 2 early on are the Family Man, and Chandler Bing is the early trailer. First quarter was quick, 25-4. Very fast pace, and now in front is Rock Shines again. Rock Shines again with the lead on the backstretch. Second is Avanti. Then 3rd is Bikini Chaser. Following that, Special Pete. Book the Fight is racing along in 5th. Now to the outside goes Some More Soaring to try and advance from mid-pack. Also to the wide side, Starlit Miller Time. The Family Man trying to move through at the inside. Then Deal the Odds and Chandler Bing. 54-1, the time for the half mile. They're moving to the second turn. It's the 1-9 favorite, Rock Shines again, trying to stay undefeated this year. Avanti and Bikini Chaser are giving chase. Then Some More Soaring is 4th to the outside of Special Pete. Next comes Starlit Miller Time as Book the Fight starts to lose ground. Wide through the turn, Deal the Odds, The Family Man, and Chandler Bing is widest of all coming off the turn. 121 and 4 for 3/4, and Rock Shines Again has moved off to a 6-length lead. Just like that. Some More Soaring is up into second. Bikini Chaser dropping to the inside is Special Pete. Inside the final eighth of a mile, and Rock Shines Again has a 5-length lead. Special Pete, Bikini Chaser, and Some More Soaring. It is Rock Shines Again winning by 2.5, and indeed 13 for 13. Second was Special Pete. The Family Man was third. Close for fourth. Bikini Chaser and Some More Soaring 149 and 4.
13 for 13. It does happen this year. Rock Shines Again. 1 to 9. The price definitely dropped there, but Rock Shines Again pretty much goes out there and gets the job done. Second from Special Pete, a big long shot there, finishing second. Gabe, your thoughts there on the Rock Shines Again, 13 for 13.
Yeah, just in a different league here, Chris. He has ripped through this Indiana program all summer long here, including at the big $250,000 final tonight. He started to shake loose and get some separation there at the top of the stretch, despite some taxing fractions. I mean, this was a very quick half-mile, three-quarter time, but just that much the best. He got a big lead there. No one able to catch Rock Shines Again or get close to him here in the late stages. This was a very convincing win by a horse that was a heavy favorite, who's been the best here in the Indiana Company all season long.
Didn't look like anxious moments there from Trace Teacher. You talked about it early on, Paul, but just watching this replay, what'd you think?
I thought this was an excellent performance, and it's funny, you know, I said if he was going to get beat, he was going to get beat in front. Well, nobody got in front of him because the race was over once he took the lead from Avante, who left with purpose, but and Trace Teacher was like, I'm having none of that. I'm on the 1 to 9 favorite. I need to go. And he went to the top.
And we were talking about some of those quarter times before the race, and 25 and 4 was pretty quick. And you saw Rock Shines Again go to the front, and you were just saying it just seems like get to the front on the best horse.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're on a 1 to 9 shot, you don't want to even take the shot of being in any trouble, especially when he left as well as he did. And the only lever really inside of him was Avante. So you're going to have to go and get your position in that spot. And he did. And listen, you know, he backed it down a little bit in the second half. But you know what? That was a great effort. 13 in a row now.
Rock Shines Again, 13 for 13. Paul Verderosa, he's 2 for 2 on the night. We're going to have plenty more here on the other side. Come on back. We got some more winners on America's Day at the Races.
In Indiana, we grow it. And when it comes to harness racing, the Indiana program has grown to become one of North America's very best. Breed development and the ISA have been there every step of the way by overseeing and promoting the Indiana sired racing, breeding, and stakes programs at every level. We're working to ensure a bright future for all of us.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, and the rock shines again for a 13th time here in 2025. Just a tremendous season that you take a look at this 3-year-old for $250,000, a nice purse, and rock shines again. A very fitting name, right? When you're going to win 13 in a row, you want to just keep shining and shining, but dominant performance, to say the least.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's just tore through the series, as Gabe said from the start, and that's what I love about this entire series and this entire night, how these races started way back in May, and here we are in October, and these horses are still battling each other, and now for the big money. So this horse definitely shined tonight, without a doubt. Race was over after the first turn, and this horse established the front.
Trace Tetrick makes the right decision there as rock shines again, continues that undefeated, or that 13 for 13 win streak. And you take a look at some of the vertical players there, but those are pretty good prices underneath, because the trifecta comes back good, and you had a 1-9 favorite on top.
Yeah, so when you can catch trifectas like that and supers like that, you're in a very, very good spot, because ultimately some of the nights like this turn out like this, with some horses that are very heavy favorites on top, but if you can match them with some big prices underneath, you'll get paid.
Yeah, it is one of those things that you kind of forget about, right? Through the wagering, it's like we take a look at some of our multi-leg bets, which we're going to have some winning tickets, I think, from you later on. But when you take a look at those 1-9 favorites and then you get those big prices underneath, nice payouts. Race number 6 is coming up. Another opportunity here to get involved, and taking a look at the morning line odds and where the odds have kind of gone back and forth. It's 2-year-olds, it's a fillies, it's a trot. Going the mile, $250,000, but it seems like it's pretty wide open right now.
To me, this was the most wide open race of the races that we're showing on tonight's show, just because you could make a case for about 5 or 6 of these without a doubt. Yeah, in this spot.
2-year-old fillies on the trot, and of course, I talked about your pick 4 ticket. We got a pick 4 coming up, and it's going to be that QR code that you're going to see. So when the pick 4 tickets come up, you can just hit that QR code, and of course, you can get involved at Naira Bets when you get involved in this pick 4. And you're going to take us through this pick 4 right now, Paul, because this is a winner. I can feel it. How are you playing this pick 4 coming up in race 6?
Well, as I said before, I think that this is the most wide open leg of the sequence. I'm going 5 deep in here. I'm going to use all of the 3, the 4, the 6, the 7, and the 8 here, with my top selection ultimately being the number 6, Help Come Laude. When you look at race number 7, to me, this is where you could start to thin the ticket out a little bit. I'm going to use the inside horse, Some More Blue, in here. I think it was nice to see her race off a helmet last week, but I think from that position tonight, they're just gunning to the front in this spot. And I'm going to use our favorite from the last show, Whoomp, because there it is. I think she is going to be tough in here. She's on a 3-race winning streak, and she's just got to get around that second tier post, but I think she'll be fine in that spot. And then when we go to race number 8, to me, again, another 2-horse race in here, using the number 3 Sunday Swagger in here, who was a little bit of a price play for me. The number 4 Swan Effect as well. I think got the worst of it last week when having to try and catch Sunday Swagger. So 3s and 4s for me in that spot. And when we are live in race number 9, we will go with the number 1 Mart 7, the number 5 Miracle Maven, who's the obvious horse, and the 10 on the outside, Bluebird Lola, at a price.
There you go. 50 cents on that minimum wager. That pick 4, that's Paul Verderosa's ticket, $30. Get involved, hit that QR code. I'm sure plenty of people got involved right there. We got a quick break here, and we're going to come back with the start of that pick 4, race number 6. Plenty more with the 2-year-old fillies trot. And of course, we're going to talk about another winning streak that's on the way on in Norway for 17 straight wins. So much more here on FS1, America's Day at the Races.
Premier Acres, located in northern Indiana, a premier breeding farm with state-of-the-art facilities and a team of dedicated caretakers. An impressive roster with some of the leading sires, including Temporal Hanover, Best in Show, Freaky Feet Pete, and more. Premier Acres, where winners are bred.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them.
Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race from every track on every screen every day. Monthly packages starting as low as $5 per month. RTN gives you great value and access to more HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit rtn.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice night there at Hoosier Park, and it always brings a nice crowd out. It's America's Day at the Races. We've got some great Standardbred action, $250,000 in the Super Finals and Stakes races this evening, and we got race number 6 coming up. It's a trot, going the 1 mile. It's for the 2-year-old fillies, and talked about it before the break. Seems like a pretty wide open field. Atlee Bender, we just saw get a second there on a 71-1 shot in the last race there, race number 5, but you take a look at race number 6. The number 6, Help Cum Laude, seems to be getting 2-1. I feel like is a lukewarm favorite right now.
Look, you know, last week when you look at her race, or actually this was back on September 30th, so a couple of weeks ago, she moved to the top on the backstretch. She never looked back in that effort, and she was well rated. Got a few whip taps on her, but she was gone when she got those few whip taps. And when you look at that race, too, I mean, that was a big-time final quarter from her. She's done it now back-to-back races where she's come home in 27. So she's starting to blossom. You could see it in the way she trots and the way she looks physically and the way mentally she's put it together now in the last couple of starts. So for me, I think Irv Miller's got a good one here in this spot, and I'm not going to try and go against her in here. I think she's the now horse. But don't get me wrong, I think it's pretty wide open in the spot as the board says.
5-2 right now on the 6, Help Cum Laude. Gabe Pruitt, your trackside there. Plenty more here on today's 6th.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Yes, I'm standing by with a special guest. We've got Jessica Barnes. She's the Assistant Executive Director of the Indiana Horse Racing Commission. Jessica, talk to us about Hoosier Night of Champions, nearly $2.5 million on the line. What does this night mean to those that participate in the Indiana program?
I think it means everything to them. So people are investing in these horses. They're breeding them. You know, a lot of times 2-3-year-olds, it's taken them, they've made an investment 3 or 4 years ago. So in the horses. So we've learned, you know, by developing this program that they've grown into it. The quality of horses has just improved so much. So it's a great night to be able to showcase those horses and to show what the horse racing industry, not just the horses on the racetrack, but the breeding industry has done for our state.
Yeah, and it's great to highlight on a national stage, I know, as well.
Yes, it is. It's great. Our horses have made, from the time that this program started, like when we had the first opening of the racetrack in 1994, to where we've grown now is amazing. You know, we set a world record last week. So our horses are amazing.
And we'll see that world record holder a little bit later. Of course, odds on Mr. Mamba. Now, you've been here 26 years, Jessica. You've seen it all. You've seen this program grow from its infancy to obviously the robust program it is now. That has to be cool to see over your, you know, service with the Indiana Horse Racing Commission.
Yes, it is awesome. I remember when I first started that if we had a horse race outside of Indiana, I got excited about it. Like the first time that a horse raced at the Meadowlands, we were like, oh my goodness, there's an Indiana horse there. And now it's an everyday occurrence. The horses that we are breeding and raising in Indiana can go anywhere and race.
So many champions, guys, come from right here in the state of Indiana. Coach Stefanos, we saw him win the Breeders' Crown at the Meadowlands last fall. That's Jessica Barnes, the Indiana Horse Racing Commission. We'll send it now. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much. And Paul, Jessica Barnes, you know, you could see the excitement, 26 years in the industry, to really see the breeding program pick up. And then you get these premier races like this on a big night, and all these purses, $250,000.
Yeah, it's all the work that they've put in behind the scenes in the past decade to have this come to fruition. And just the way that it's turned out has just been excellent for them. It's exponentially grown.
Future is always bright, and we take a look at the 2-year-old fillies coming up in this trot as we always take a look at what their future is going to be. It's post-parade time here for this $250,000 Super Final It's Indiana Sire Stakes. There's Diamonds, the one.
Yeah, that was a sneaky good race, 2 starts back against Lesser, so I wouldn't be surprised if this horse can run back to that race against Tougher tonight. We'll
Another
see.
long shot in what seems like a wide open race, the 2 Pastors Delicacy.
Just missed by a neck last time out. They were rolling late as the race fell apart.
Meadowbrook Ashley, the 3.
Yeah, I don't know what happened last week. Big favorite, and they were rolling with a wind-aided quarter, but she packed it in rather quickly. She's got some rebound potential, though, tonight, I think.
Here's the 4. I've never said this in my life. OMG, am I okay?
Should we ask that question or no? I mean, is that like you asking us to ask you that question? But she looks good out there for Team Burke.
The 5, Make It Spicy.
You a spicy food guy?
Once in a while.
All right. So she's going to spice things up, too. She likes to go to the front, this horse. We'll see what we get out of her.
Here's the 6, who we did speak about, an improving type, really finding her form. Help Cum Laude.
Yeah, big-time final quarters in the last 2 for her, and I think she's finally figured it out both physically and mentally.
Right next door is going to be the 7, and that's Dan. Good feeling.
Not a bad race last time out. Won by open lanes at a big number. Came home in 27-3 in that spot.
There is the 8 here and floating up right now. 2-1 on the morning line, now 7-1 there on 4 days.
Yeah, she tried first over to go with Help Cum Laude last time, but she just got put away rather easily. Rebound potential for her.
Honeymoon's the night?
Yeah, long shot. Hanging on the outside there was 5th last time out.
And Dave Miller with Expressive Gal.
Finished 4th last time out behind Help Cum Laude in 4 days, so I was going to have to make up a little bit of ground to be in the conversation to beat them.
A lot of common competition you do see throughout the season because they face one another. And from a handicapping standpoint, do you feel like it makes it easier for you taking a look now, a little bit later on in the season, or is it more complicated?
Well, I think it's all about growth, right? You have horses who peak very early, and then others play catch-up and do catch them, and then you have others that have to grow. And some of them race their way into form, and then the light bulb comes on and they figure it out. So for me, I think right now, going for the big money, it's more about what have you done for me lately, but that's just me personally, and I think that's kind of showing in the price on the 8 right now, 4 days, who last time out just didn't get the right trip, I don't think. And I know that she got beat, and put away rather easily, so maybe people are thinking she's heading in the wrong direction as opposed to the 6 who's headed in the right direction in this spot.
You did like the 6 here as your top selection, but you did feel like it was a pretty wide open race because you go 5 deep here in your pick 4.
Yeah, using the 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And Meadowbrook Ashley right now is the current favorite at 2-1. And, she was running just fine, trotting just fine and racing fine, in several of her starts. And then last time out, she was just on the front end and she was kind of winging out there. And they kind of were rolling and they kind of had some help with the wind that was out there, and then she just packed it in a little too easily. So I think she'll get a little softer journey tonight, hopefully, and she's the horse with rebound potential.
Jessica Otten there, she's got a pick 4 for you, and she played it for $1, it says. $1 pick 4 for Jess, and, you can hit that QR code one more time. Jessica Otten, she's trackside, of course. She likes the 3, 4, 6, and 8, so she sees it very similar. She sees race 7 very similar to you. 2 and 4, very similar again in there in race 8. And even in race 9, I mean, you can both hit this ticket together, right? Yeah, taking a look at your selections, you guys could both advance.
Yeah, get the money. That's what it's all about. It's about stacking paper at the end of the day.
And I think Gabe's got a ticket as well. And taking a look at Gabe's, he goes a little bit deeper in those later 2 legs, but he likes 3, 6, 7 in here. Some of the logical choices, the logical contenders we talked about. He's going to single in race number 6, and race number 7. He's going to talk about the 10, and I'm going to go to Gabe right now because he's going to tell us why that single in race 7 is going to be the key to his ticket.
Do you think this is the Dexter Dunn?
Thanks so much, Chris. I will tell you why, and that's Whoomp. I think this is a 2-year-old pacing filly that is really coming into her own. Tim Tetrick has a call tonight. She'll start from the 2nd tier. Her regular driver, John DeLong, well, he's a co-owner of a horse in there, so he could not sit at the bike behind the Whoomp, but I really think that she is a filly to beat, despite that 2nd tier post, and I'm going to put all my eggs in that basket. It's a $45 play, guys. As you know, I'm typically the economy ticket where we hit repeat. That's just not the case tonight. I think some of these legs are wide open. Again, I'm going to plant my flag with Whoomp in that 2nd leg. 3 deep here to kick things off. 3, 6, and 7. I did take a swing here against the morning line favorite. That's the 8, 4 days. She's not taking quite as much play in here as I anticipated. And then you'll see the final 2 legs. Well, guys, I have more questions than I have answers in those 2 legs. I'm 6 deep in the 3rd leg. I'm 5 deep to close it out. But again, this ticket all revolves around Whoomp, who's going to be at action race number 7.
But I think Allie Bender kind of had a hard time getting her off the John DeLong helmet in the stretch. So
Gabe, I'm going to go opposite of you. I'm going to be very skinny in my ticket. I'm going to play more of a Gabe Pruitt ticket than you are. I'll open up this sequence with 4 horses. I think this is one of the more wide open divisions, in my opinion, at least on paper. 3, 4, 6, and 8 to open it up, hoping for maybe a little bit of a price. Race 7, I really do like Whoop, but I didn't want Some More Blue to beat me. What if she's back on her game? She's just a narrow loss last time out after, a stakes Grand Circuit loss 2 back when we actually saw that on this show. So I'm going to use 1 and 10 in race 7. Race number 8, I'm going to use the 2 and the 4. Dandy Man-Can, Irv Miller, Atlee Bender, and Swan Effect, Lawayne Miller, Junior Haynes teaming up there. Both horses super sharp coming into the race, and I don't think there was a whole lot separating them in my opinion. And then in race number 9, the 3-year-old fillies on the trot, the 5 and the 7. Miracle Maven is coming off of back-to-back wins and 50 to win for the Irv Miller barn, coming off of back-to-back second-place finishes, but has had a very solid 3-year-old campaign. So I'm going to skinny up my ticket a bit. I'm going to play it for $1 for a $32 investment, hoping to catch a price here in the opening leg.
We saw the 2 Pastor's Delicacy when they were trying to come out.
Thank you very much, guys, there, trackside, and taking a look at all 3 tickets. Fantastic getting involved, and we're seeing something here. Looks like we've got a little bit of an adjustment, maybe some equipment, or taking a look at something. This is something I'm not familiar with, but now I see the horse there. Okay, so we're just maybe a short delay here coming in race 6.
Yeah, I think they were just adjusting something equipment-wise. I don't think it was anything major, so
okay.
I think we should be ready to go here in just a few seconds, coming back out on the track.
And that's the 9? Is that the 9 that we're taking a look at? Yeah, that's going to be the 9 here in Honeymoon. Big long shot there at 23 to 1. But now you're starting to see some more of the money come in on the number 6, Help Cum Laude, who's going to be a pretty big favorite if we go off at 7 to 5, right?
Yeah, in this spot, I would say, especially coming off the morning line of 5 to 2, but based on her last 2 races, she's going to be tough if she runs back to either one of those in this spot, because I just think from a standpoint of mentally and physically, she's put it together, and it's shown on the track, especially with the way she's powered home in her last 2 starts.
The 8 4 days is the one that's really floating up in price. Gabe, Jess, plenty more here before post time for race 6.
Well, speaking of prices, Gabe likes the 7, 15 to 1 on Dan Goodfeelin. And Spence Taylor does the training and driving on this one. Gabe, a very good 4-length winner last time out. If we know a thing or two about Spence is he does really good with these young trotters.
And I'm going to use a phrase that Paul Verderosa used just a couple of minutes ago, Jess, light bulb on. Sometimes when you're dealing with these 2-year-olds, they start at the races, they're just learning what this is all about. This had been what I would call just a very average filly through her first 12 career starts. However, she recently added a therapeutic medication of Lasix. Last out was by far the best start of her career. She was a 4-length winner there, completely wrapped up. It was an easy score in 155 and 2. No, that was, a little bit of a turnaround for the first 12 starts in her career, but I'm hoping that this filly is learn what this is all about tonight. Yes, guys, big stage tonight, bright lights, $250,000 of the line, but I saw a filly that I think is heading in the right direction. And the price, what's heading in the right direction too right now at 15 to 1.
All right, getting ready for race number 6. You've heard everybody here at the desk. It's our first leg of that pick 4. $10,000 guaranteed pick 4. It starts right here, race number 6. 2-year-old fillies trot, and his track announcer, Michael Chamberlain, with the call.
Field is approaching the Midwest Standardbred horse sale starting gate for race 6. Beginning the pick 4 on races 6 through 9. $10,000 guarantee on the pick 4. As the field now turns into the stretch, 6 to 5 on Help Cum Laude. Field is now in the stretch. Here they come. They are up. Good start for Help Cum Laude. Meadowbrook Ashley down at the inside. Then Diamonds. Make It Spicy is forwardly positioned with OMG Am I OK moving up into 5th. Then comes 4 Days. Pastor's Delicacy next. After that is Expressive Gal, who moves through to the inside. The last 2 at the outset are Dan Goodfeelin and Honeymoon. The opening quarter covered in 27 seconds. To the backstretch they go. Help Cum Laude is the leader. Meadowbrook Ashley is right there second. And next, Diamonds. And going off stride is OMG Am I OK. OMG Am I OK went off stride on the backstretch. So continuing up the backstretch, the leader is Help Cum Laude. Help Cum Laude from Meadowbrook Ashley. You know Diamonds is third. A length and a half further to Make It Spicy. Then 4 days after that. Next comes Pastor's Delicacy with Expressive Gal. Honeymoon trying to move up on the outside. Dan Good Feeling to the inside. And after the break, OMG Am I OK is the trailer. Half mile 56-1. Second quarter 29-1. They're on the second turn. Help Cum Laude. Meadowbrook Ashley. 4 days is chugging up on the outside now. And 4 days has gotten herself into contention. You know Diamonds is next with Pastor's Delicacy. Right after that is Expressive Gal. Head of the stretch, headed for home. 3 quarters, 126-3. 30-2 for the third quarter for Help Cum Laude. 4 days to the outside. Then Meadowbrook Ashley. 4 lengths back to Expressive Gal, who has taken fourth. 4 days to the outside has now taken the lead, but Help Cum Laude battles right back to the inside. Expressive Gal is taking third. 4 days, Help Cum Laude. They're fighting it out to the finish, and it is too close to call. They hit the line together. Help Cum Laude in 4 days. Then it was Expressive Gal. Meadowbrook Ashley was fourth. 54-4.
2-year-old fillies absolutely throwing down here in the stretch. To the inside, it's the 6 Help Cum Laude at a short number. 4 days to the outside, floated up in price. Gabe Pruitt, you're there trackside. Who wins that photo?
Boy, it's just too close to call here. A bang finish, Chris. I mean, these were 2 fillies that just dropped the gloves here at a heavyweight bout with $250,000 on the line. 4 days on the outside. Did not want to lose. Help Cum Laude, who had been 2 for 2 for her new trainer, Irv Miller, really battled her all the way to the finish, and it's just so close here. We're going to have to wait the results of the photo to determine who won. But as you see, these two just clearly the 2 best in this group. 4 days, it was 2-1 in the morning line. She'd been the best earlier in the season. The question was, was she peaking here late in the season with the big money of the line? So I think that's why she was dismissed at a little higher price. Help Cum Laude, the 6, off as the favorite. She was a little bit more of the nail horse. She had been just sensational in her first 2 tries for the new trader. Get a close finish here between 2 good fillies. Neither wanted to give an inch.
Gabe, not quite sure there, trackside there, of who wins the photo. They're showing 4 days. Paul, what do you think?
I'll tell you, the 8 won this race, and that was a hell of a race from 4 days because, I mean, had to go first over in this spot into fractions that weren't even that fast. I mean, 29-1 for the second quarter, 30-2 for the third quarter, and to be able to sustain and go on by. It took her a while, and it took every inch of that stretch, but she was able to get up there, and she was 7-1. I mean, that was the price play off of last week because she tried hard against Help Cum Laude in a race that was faster. It just couldn't get there, sustaining first over. Today, she did, and she was able to trot to the wire and just do enough to win. That was a hell of a race. Really was. She ran well.
And it doesn't always work out like that. First leg of a pick 4, and you get the 8 home there, and floating up from a 2-1 morning line and goes off, I think it was right around 7-1, 8-1. That was pretty impressive.
Definite overlay in the spot.
4 days gets the job done there. John DeLong, the driving duties, 2-year-old filly, right to the winner's circle. Coming on back, we're going to talk about a very, very superstar horse. We're going to talk about the Hamiltonian, top 10, Breeders' Crown Poll, and of course, Blueprint. Plenty more on America's Day at the Races.
Saturday on America's Day at the Races, join Maggie Wolfendale on track live for the 40th edition of Jim McKay Maryland Million Day from Laurel Park. Back-to-back stakes races, including the Maryland Million Classic. Coverage begins noon Eastern on FS2. Now's the time to subscribe to the Naira Bets YouTube channel. Join Matthew DeSantis and Kaylee Shapiro for stakes previews, in-depth analysis, and handicapping strategy and tutorials. Subscribe to and like Naira Bets on YouTube.
America's Day at the Races is brought to you in part by Naira Bets. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Hopefully you got involved in Paul Verderosa's Pick 4 ticket, but a fired up 4 days into the winner's circle gets the job done in a very, very tight photo. Impressive performance from both Help Cum Laude and 4 days, who just gets the victory.
We're down in the stretch, and listen, 4 days had the same exact trip that she pulled back on the 30th of September, but this time she just kept on trotting and just was not going to be denied in this spot. Took the entire length of the stretch. Help Cum Laude did what she needed to do. She got up to the top. She was able to establish. She was able to back down the fractions as well, and they trotted off to the wire, but at the end of the day, man, 4 days, this was a big overlay in this spot. So if you had her, kudos to you in this spot. Because really, when you look at her past performances, her only blemish was back on September 2nd when it just was not her night, and she just broke in that spot. Just a lot of ones around that. 5 for 9, now 6 for 10 on the year.
It's a long stretch there, Hoosier, but it must have felt so long for both of the connections there as they were getting down to the wire. There you have the payouts there, and you got a nice price. 7-1 there, $17.40 on your winner, who was a 2-1 morning line. Nice exacta, nice superfecta, some really nice returns there. John DeLong gets the victory. 4 days for the 2-year-old Fillies trot. We're going to move right on to race number 7. 2-year-old fillies in a pace. $250,000. Going to sound like I repeat myself over and over and over. Whoop. To the outside, the 10, Tim Tetrick, outside post, I should say. 6-5, deserving favorite, but down towards the inside, some more blue at 5-2.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a 2-horse race between the 1 and the 10 in here, and I just prefer Womp because I just love her. And I think it was a changing of the guard kind of race last time out with her, too, because she ran exceptionally well in that spot. She took in all that air. She was first over in that spot, and she still got the job done in there. So, and, some more blue, I think. Her best way of winning tonight is she's got to go. It was nice to see her race off a helmet last time out, but I think her best weapon is her speed.
All right, we're looking forward to it, bookending it, the 1 and the 10. Plenty more. That's going to be on the 2-year-old fillies pace. And it's poll time here as we take a look at the top 10. Hamiltonian Breeders' Crown. Breeders' Crown is right around the corner, of course, and the Standardbred Poll. Blueprint at the top, Twin Bee Joe Fresh. Some really, really familiar names that we've seen throughout the season, but Blueprint is definitely at the top of the class.
This week, he was the season's first unanimous #1 selection. He got all 35 votes.
Wow.
For first to be on that list. So 10 for 10 this year. And, we're taking a look at him, obviously, in this spot, winning the jug, and he's gone on since then, and he's won the Tattersall's pace in his last start. He did in 146 in 3. And until they knock him off his pedestal, he's going to be tough. He's showing you that he could adapt to anything, and more times than not. He's just faster, and nobody's played catch-up for the most part yet for him.
Yeah, we haven't seen the top 10 be able to change much underneath him we have, but Blueprint has just been at the top of the class.
Steady all year.
Outside of just a little small hiccup just during the summer. Besides that, Blueprint has just been really tough.
Yeah, but he came right back, and he's run well,
yeah.
Since then. So 17 for 20 lifetime, 10 for 10 this year, and won some big races, obviously, the Jug, the Tattersalls, and it's Breeders' Crown time. So he's looking to add that and finish off the year in a perfect fashion.
Going to have to earn it on the track, of course, and talking about Blueprint, and Twin Bee Joe Fresh is in there, but an interesting name there with the Emoticon Legacy and the number 3 in the poll, and I know Gabe and Jess, we were talking about it prior to tonight's show, that the number 3 spot there, Emoticon Legacy, might make some noise there.
He is definitely a hot commodity right now, Gabe. That effort he put up in the Kentucky Futurity at the Red Mile was simply amazing. Post 10, used aggressively, never let anybody buy him. I'm just running out of words to talk about him because he's been super sharp for his connections.
Yeah, he had post 10 there. He had the far outside Lexington, and he was the business end, Joseph, at opening at 53 and change. Horses just don't live to tell about that. You'll see he's clinging to the lead we thought at the top of the stretch, but when business picks up here through that long Red Mile home stretch, Emoticon Legacy is going to fend off all challengers. Maryland, the richest 2-year-old trotter ever. He was down the center of the track with Yannick Gingras. Dexter Dunn had a perfect trip there with Super Chapter. He's going to come out and challenge. Ultimately, they ended up 2nd and 3rd. It was a huge effort from Emoticon Legacy. He vaulted from number 8 in the top 10 poll all the way to number 3 by virtue of that Kentucky Futurity win. 3rd leg of the trotting Triple Crown. And you would have to think he's just razor sharp coming into the Breeders' Crown here in just a couple of weeks. And oh, by the way, that's raced on his home court at Woodbine Mohawk Park, as he's based north of the border in Canada.
You know, he's been really sharp all season long. I think the only lull in his season, of course, was Hambo Day. Unfortunate there that he wasn't able to get a good piece of that, but homebred for the connections as well, of course, out of a Motocon Hanover by Wallner. Determination. They put a lot of money into the business. It's nice to see the dividends pay off with a homebred out of one of their nice mares.
Yeah, and it's, that was a very nice mare, damn Motocon Hanover, but he's just been a sharp horse all year. Again, I just think that right now he may be as sharp as he's ever been, which really, guys, is a scary proposition, because heading into that Breeders' Crown, I know those connections wouldn't want to trade places with anyone.
We are very much looking forward to the Breeders' Crown, of course, just a couple of weeks away, I guess a week away now. Very much looking forward to that with the eliminations and then the finals. Lots of great horses and horse racing we're going to cover up at Woodbine Mohawk Park.
Thank you very much there, Jess Otten and Gabe Pruitt. And yeah, I mean, the top 10, it's exciting. Breeders' Crown right around the corner, also very exciting. And we've talked about breeding, so important here, and really you see the pride that the connections take. And the Indiana program continues to improve as you see some of these top horses, but this is really their time to shine.
Yeah, this is their time to shine tonight, too. And we'll see if any of them move on down the line to any Breeders' Crown races. But there's a lot to look forward to in the coming weeks.
Because there's some big names to tackle there in that top 10.
Sure, without a doubt, that we didn't even touch on yet.
Plenty more about the Breeders' Crown. That's going to be coming up in, just about a week, a little over a week. But we got a post parade coming up, I believe, here for race number 7. Taking a look at the field. Yes, there they are. There is the one Some More Blue, as we'll take it through this field. But a 2-year-old filly pace. We just saw the 2-year-old filly trot, $250,000. There is the 2 Miss Alexis, 34-1.
Yeah, she's going to be a price against these. She struggled a little bit in this series throughout the year.
Dave Miller, Pond of Lime.
4th last time out, but took some money in that start as well.
50-1 on the 4.
Yeah, Cruisin' Haley's hasn't had a win yet this season, but does have 5 seconds.
All right, here comes next. The 5, that's going to be Rock the Charm.
That was a career best mile for her. She exploded, too, last time out with pace in the lane going right on by. So 10-1's not a bad price for her if you think that she's headed in the right direction off that career best.
Give me a mid-range price here. 8-1, $1 million Image.
Yeah, 2-hole pocket trip for her. Was a little tight in there, but it's not like she didn't trip out in that spot. So she just got beat on the square by Rock the Charm.
7 is going to be Green River.
Yeah, going to be a price in here with 2nd in a qualifier coming back. Hasn't raced since August, so it's a big ask here.
And there is the 8. That's Tell It Like This. Tell It Like This.
Okay, I will. See,
I know, I was going to go right, tell it like it is.
Yeah.
Tell it like this.
No, listen, she's got speed in this spot. We'll see what she does from the 8-hole if she's going to leave. She did last time.
Atlee Bender driving the 9.
Yeah, got to stay flat this time. Kind of had a little steppy issue last time out.
There you go. And there's Whoop, the 10.
I don't think post position's really going to matter for her at all. You take a look back at 2 starts back, that was an open stake that she won in that spot. Grand Circuit competition came back as well in her last start on October 1st and was able to get the job done in here. And, she had a tough post, for some kind of position in that spot. She came first over, and she just motored on and just rolled on by. And I liked her before this race. I just love her now. And I think it was a changing of the guard, too, in this spot, especially if you didn't believe in her earlier. You got to believe in her now after that start. And in Some More Blue's case, being even money in this spot, it was kind of a different trip for her, right? Because she sat behind, she sat in the pocket, she followed a helmet in that spot. And I think her best weapon, though, is her speed. And from that inside position, she's going to have to pace out of there. And that's her best weapon. I think she needs to establish the front.
Do you feel like, though, that Some More Blue, I mean, she got the jump on Whoop in there. She seemed to be home clear. I mean, that was her best shot at really tackling her. And she's just, she went right by her.
In some ways, yes, but in some ways, no, because she raced off a helmet in the spot, and she kind of she wanted to go. I think she was keen in that pocket spot. She powered home, though, in 26 and change. It's not like she gave up on the run. It's just Whoop was that much better. So that's why I kind of feel like in some ways it was a changing of the guard, but I wonder what would be in a spot like this tonight if she's going to roll and pace right to the top from that 1 hole. Whoop's going to be somewhere behind her. I'm going to take the horse that I think is going to be in front, and I think the best horse to come from off the pace, and that's how I wanted to attack this race.
I like it. Taking a look at that pick 4, you continue on. Jess Otten's going to be looking at the 1 and the 10 as well. But is it just between these two? Jess Otten, Gabe Pruitt, they've got plenty more here for tonight's 7th.
Well, it is a very competitive group here, guys, for the 2-year-old filly pace Hoosier Championship final. Gabe, if you were still alive in the pick 4, you did put all your eggs in one basket here with Whoop. And she's been sensational. She's really coming into this race sharp. Roger Welch alluded to it earlier. Unfortunately, she's got post 10, but she's just feeling herself as of late.
Yeah, she's been so good. And as Paul said, it was almost a changing of the guard last out because Some More Blue, the one in here, she started her career, guys, 7 for 7. but her last 2 starts have been losses. We just took a look at the most recent one. That was to the hands of Whoomp. Now, here's a little bit of the, could be the decider factor for Whoomp. She does start from post 10. That's second tier here at Hoosier Park. Now, the good news for her, she should get to start behind the one Somewhere Blue, who gets out of the gate very well. So I think if Whoomp just gets a fair shake at it, that she has proven here late in the season that maybe she is a horse that is trajectorying the right way. So driver Tim Tetrick in the bike here for the first time in her career. This was a filly that survived an inquiry a couple of weeks back on this show. As a matter of fact, September the 19th at a $200,000 stakes race around the far turn. She just took a little bit of a bad step. So we have to watch her very closely around the turns. She's much better on the straightaways. But assuming Whoomp has clear settling, she gets away good here, and she's anywhere close for turning for home, I do think quite clearly she started to separate herself from Somewhere Blue, who needs to bounce back. That's a tough thing for a 2-year-old to do, Jess. I think late in the season, now that she's had 9 starts under her belt, typically we don't see horses start to get sharp once more. Once they start to tail off, particularly at the age of 2, they just need a break to maybe freshen up. Obviously, a break's coming soon for Somewhere Blue, but not until they settle this $250,000 dance tonight.
Though DeLong's had a nice win there in that last race with 4 days. That was a Hoosier Classic selection. In this race, they'll send out the 5, Rock the Charm, a homebred for the connections. She's one that's sharp too, Gabe. She's got 2 wins from those 7 starts. Most recently, a nice win there, 26-1 at the end of it. She's been chasing down the likes of Somewhere Blue earlier on in the season. She pops up sub 26 last quarters as well. She looks like she's got some good versatility too.
Yeah, I think this is the one that could upset the apple cart a little bit if you're looking for a horse maybe even split the 2 favorites. That's 5 Rock the Charm. Now, we saw that replay back with Somewhere Blue and Whoomp. They came out of the same division. That was the last tune-up for this race on October the 1st. Rock the Charm, the 5, she was lucky there because she drew in the opposite division. She did take full advantage. That was a winning effort. Maybe just a notch below those 2 throughout the majority of the season in the summer here in the state of Indiana, but a nice filly in her own right. I mean, she started 7 times. She's been first or second in 6 of those 7 tries, and she's earned over $125,000.
Aaron Stutzman's been really good at going to the sale, finding a bargain price horse. He purchased a Pondalime for just $8,000 last fall. Horse has 2 wins from 9 starts in her 2-year-old campaign, and pretty solid. She's made almost $80,000. She's coming off of a 4th place finish, but she does show a couple of wins earlier on in the season.
Yeah, Pondalime starts from post 3, just her main weapon. She likes to sit and track. She likes to draft along, as most standardbreds do by nature. She's got 1 good kick to her, so she'll want to track for a long way. Now, this is the longest stretch in the sport of harness racing, 1,255 feet at Hoosier Park, so that really aids her chances. She picks up driver Dave Miller, Hall of Famer here, who's in town tonight with the big money on the line. He has never sat behind her. I'm sure the instructions were to try and give her just as good of a trip as he possibly can. Dave, of course, knows how to get it done. He's the 2nd leading money-winning driver of all time, only behind John Campbell. And coming up shortly, he'll pass that mark as he's nearing it on $300 million in the bank for the Hall of Famer Dave Miller at 60 years old. And one of the coolest nicknames in harness racing, just Purple Jesus. He's got the call with a 3-pound dime. Again, she does need things to go her way. She'll want to sit track for a long time, but if she gets clear settling late and gets to shake loose, she'll be one, moving the right direction.
I definitely think the trip scenarios are going to work out interesting here, of course, with Whoomp being that trailing position, and Somewhere Blue is going to use that rail to navigate herself, probably forwardly placed here in the big money final for the 2-year-old pacing fillies. It's up next for $250,000. Michael Chamberlain has a call.
Midwest Standardbred Horse Sale starting gate is now on the move for race 7. 2-year-old pacing fillies in behind the gate. 4 to 5 on Whoomp. Hoosier High 5 available here in the 7th. And here they come. They are off. Some more blue at the inside, and moving up in the center, $1 Million Image. Then Rock the Charm, Whoomp, down on the inside, away very well from the second tier. Miss Alexis is fifth. And then racing next, Ponda Lime, Tell It Like This, is next as the field banks onto that first turn. And then racing along in eighth is Cruisin' Hallie, Green River to her outside, the early trailer in the passing lane. First quarter, 27-2, on to the backstretch they go. It is $1 Million Image with the lead, but not for long. Here comes Some More Blue, and Some More Blue goes on by to take over, but Whoomp looms right behind that pair, and here comes Whoomp up on the outside now to challenge Some More Blue's lead, and that is going to go to Whoomp. Whoomp now in front, just outside the half-mile pole. That opening half came and went in 56 seconds. Whoomp is the leader. Some More Blue, then $1 Million Image third, Rock the Charm fourth, followed by Miss Alexis, then Ponda Lime. Up on the outside is Tell It Like This. Inside is Cruisin' Hallie with Green River, and in the passing lane, the trailing two. Whoomp has the lead, moving around the turn. Some More Blue, Rock the Charm, trying to get up into it on the outside third. $1 Million Image fourth, with 3/4 covered in 1:24.1. Third quarter of 28.1, and Whoomp is in front. Some More Blue trying to get closer second. Rock the Charm, then $1 Million Image. Coming to the final eighth, it is Whoomp 2 lengths in front. Some More Blue, Rock the Charm. Miss Alexis coming on late. Whoomp in front with 100 yards to go, and Whoomp. There it is on Hoosier Champions Night. She wins by 4. Some More Blue second, then Rock the Charm and Miss Alexis in 1:50.4.
10s all around there as Whoomp gets the job done, powering home there. Very impressive, and to my eyes, one of the most impressive of the night so far. Gabe Pruitt, just hot, and I think trackside. What do you guys think here from the 10 Whoomp?
Yeah, I think, again, the start was the main concern with the second-tier slot, Chris. She got away third, so things couldn't have worked out any better there. This race lined up 6-1-10. Marcus Miller wanted to get the jump on it with Some More Blue. He moved the top. Tiedrick had a decision to make at that point. Does he sit third and attack late on the outside, or does he go on and try to move to the top and make Some More Blue try and re-rally around him? That was ultimately the decision he took. He decided to put his cards on the table, so to speak, and it paid off here in a big way. She was much the best, a filly that has continued to get better and better throughout this season. She's now 8 of 13 in her career. Career earnings now will vault up to well over $350,000 by virtue of tonight's winning effort.
Trace Tiedrick with a win. Now we see Tim Tiedrick with a win, but Whoomp, you were talking about it during the race, Paul, and you felt like Rock the Charm was making a little bit of a move, but Whoomp through the lane. Wow.
Yeah, she was excellent tonight, and it was all about position early, and they kind of mixed it up because Some More Blue wanted that lead. Whoomp said, I don't think so. I'm brushing to the top. I want to make sure I'm on top. And listen, Whoomp was that good to win by a few over Some More Blue. And to Some More Blue's credit, while Whoomp is now better than she is, Some More Blue was a bit in front of Rock the Charm. So Some More Blue was just that much better than the rest of the field in here. So I really think that these are the two, fillies that have really stamped themselves in this pacing series and this division. And they ran 1-2.
Yeah, you do watch the race, though, and you do start to think Whoomp is starting to really assert herself, and she's starting to separate from the rest of the class because she was just powerful there at the end.
I think that open win for her 2 starts back against Open Company with Grand Circuit Racing definitely put her in a level above Some More Blue.
Whoop! There she is. I can't take Michael Chamberlain's line, but she's dominant. She wins again, wins that $250,000 purse here tonight. Come on back. America's Day at the Races. More Whoop.
Join us at Hannah's Hoosier Park for a foolish good time with Bright Night at the Races. With trunk rotating and inflatable corn maze, pumpkin giveaway, and our annual horse costume contest, the whole family will have a frighteningly good night. Not to mention all the edge of your seat thrills of live racing. Bright Night begins at 5 p.m. October 25th. Ha ha ha!
Zaccheo, Flatterer, Flat Top, McDynamo, Goodnight Shirt, Snap Decision, legends that have defined steeplechasing's finest hour. For over a century, the Far Hills Race Meeting has set the gold standard for racing. On October 18th, the tradition continues at Moreland Farm. Come be a part of the pageantry, beauty, and excitement of steeplechase racing's biggest day. Tickets are available now at farhillsrace.org.
Hard 7, hard 7!
We breed champions. 2025 yearlings selling at Lexington Selected Yearling Sale, Midwest Standardbred Horse Sale, Standardbred Horse Sale, Harrisburg. Including yearlings by Walner, Chapter 7, Muscle Hill, King of the North, Captain Treacherous, and many more. Visit CountryLaneStandardbreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Whoop. Getting ready to enter the winner's circle there at Harris Hoosier Park on a gorgeous night there in Indiana. Looks like a really nice night for racing, and Whoop gets the job done again. Just really impressive. We talked about her through the lane. She's really starting to set herself apart in that 2-year-old Pace. $250,000. They take down the big purse, and of course she gets the big blanket. And Whoop, we've seen a couple fired up winners in the winner's circle tonight.
Yeah, they're feeling it. And I think it's also because the weather's a little cooler as well, too. So, good effort here, was able to pull away from Some More Blue, who they are 1-2 in this division. They have been, but now it's just flipped, where Whoop is better than Some More Blue. But for me, now this is the second six-figure win purse that she has picked up, and I think from here, you're looking at a horse that's going to develop and be a pretty good 3-year-old.
Yeah, very impressive performance once again. Whoop getting the job done there. Tim Tetrick, the 2-year-old filly getting the job done. And we saw some shorter prices in here, and we were kind of due for this, right? We saw some of those big prices, some of those big payouts, but kidded a little chalky there in race number 7, but it was understandable. But hey, another thing, your ticket and Jess Otten's ticket both advance, right? Yeah, pick 4. We continue along, so we got 2 more legs to go there with the 8th and the 9th. Looking forward to those performances. Chris Griffin here with Paul Verderosa, of course, Gabe Pruitt, Jess Otten. They are trackside at Hoosier Park. We've seen a really good night so far, Paul, and we continue to see some really big names. We got odds on Mr. Mamba coming up a little bit later on, some more win streaks going on, but from your selection standpoint, you've had a good, strong night so far.
Yeah, so far, so good. 3 winners, a little chalky. What can you do? But Help Come Lade just missed by a nose. But I'll take the 7-1 shot, to get the pick 4 started in that race. That race was the most wide open on the card, without a doubt, because now we're going to start to see some horses as we move forward later on with odds on Mr. Mamba and onto Norway as well that are going to be some pretty big favorites, I think.
All right, looking forward to some of that later action on the card. We've seen some of the top 10 polls, and the Breeders' Crown is just right around the corner, so we continue to see some of these top performances here tonight for the Indiana Sire Stakes, but really looking forward to what's going to happen in a couple weeks as well. Race number 8 is coming up here on tonight's program. We continue on in those pick 4s. We're going to see how Jess and Paul advance. Gabe is out. I can't believe, and he had Whoop as his big play, and the single, man, it's always tough when you have that happen. 2-year-old Colson Geldings in a trot, $250,000. Right now, Dandy Man can towards the inside. Atlee Bender one more time here, 6-5.
Nice effort last time out. Won by open lanes. Came home in 27-3, 155 in that spot. It's a lifetime mark for him in his first win of his career as well. So doing it in style in that spot. So going to be favored in here, I think. We'll see how it shakes out, but I think you can make a case for some prices.
All right, looking forward to that field of 10 here in race number 8. We just had a big winner in race number 7, and our own Jessica Otten is with the winning connections right now here of Whoop.
Thanks, guys. I have winning trainer Roger Welch. He's going to go back-to-back. 4 days, then Whoop. We'll start with 4 days. We just talked about it. What a finish. Did you think you got it there late in the stretch?
I watched it live, and I thought she got it by a nose. And then when they do the slow-mo, I thought she lost. And then I watched it again. I thought she lost. I thought, oh, no. But thank goodness she won.
She does a pretty good filly for you all season long.
Yeah, she's been real tough. She loves to win, and she loves her work. She's a handful to work with, but she's just so playful all the time.
She looked like a little bit of a handful there in the winner's circle for the connections. Let's talk about Whoop. A little bit of change in tactics. She had post 10 trailing position. You called in the Bionic Man, Hall of Famer Tim Tetrick for the drive. He took things into his own manner. He said, I'm going to put this filly on the front. He really aired her out tonight.
Yep. I told Timmy, work your magic. Timmy's driven, thousands of horses for me up in Chicago in the days. And that's why I had Timmy come in, because I got 110% confidence in him. And I gave him two things I told him. I said, don't move her quick. I said, and don't let DeLong get on your helmet. DeLong's horse, I don't want him following you. If he gets behind you, you got to get away from him. That was my only advice, and he drove her perfect. He had to make the move to the front like he did, and I'm glad Marcus didn't string her out any, and it worked out good for both of them because they ended up 1-2.
Yeah, very solid performance by her. You've been a mainstay in the state of Indiana now for the last several years. Maybe just talk about how nice their program is. You don't really have to travel anywhere. You go for good money all season long.
That's absolutely correct. I never leave Indiana. We never have to go anywhere. You can put a lot of money on horses, and if you get a horse that isn't quite good enough, they have races for them where you can put some money on their card and then move them on to get another one. The yearling prices have gotten a little bit higher lately, but that's economics too.
Nice job tonight, Roger.
Thank you.
We'll send it back to you guys.
Thank you very much with the happy connections. I was going to mention the mascot, and then the mascot just walked by one more time. I got to find out who the mascot. What do you think the name is? It's got to have a name. Here, Whoop with the victory in the 2-year-old filly's face. A tremendous victory there for the connections. Roger Welch having a very good night as well. And you saw, he's really got a plan. He's really put it in place here, and it's really happening for him here in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, and the great news for him is, as he said, he doesn't even have to leave the state because of how good this program has gotten for him. So, yeah, the horse prices have gotten a little bit more expensive. What hasn't, right? But as far as a program goes, they have made strides. They've made big strides in recent years.
Still plenty more coming up. Race number 8 is not far away, and we've got Gabe Pruitt with some more of the great people there at Hoosier Park and all the great things happening in the state of Indiana.
Thanks so much, Chris. That's exactly right. I'm with Joe Morrissey, Senior Vice President of Racing for Caesars Entertainment, of course, owners of Harris Hoosier Park. And Joe, what a great night here. Hoosier Night of Champions for the very first time on national TV.
Well, this is our 4th national TV show of the year, which is fantastic. We appreciate Fox and the fans that they bring to us. But it's a great night. Dining room full, the aprons full. We're in the middle of a record year here this year, 32 years, and this will be the highest handle year we have ever had.
And it looks like a pretty good night tonight so far as well.
And this is a good night, and is the racing ever exciting? We've had some great finishes, and the gamblers are in with both hands.
And it's nice to showcase the Indiana product. Even earlier on one of the Fox broadcasts with the Thoroughbreds over at Horseshoe Indianapolis, they came in as well.
Well, and another one of our tracks, Caesars has 5 tracks. The Indiana product here this year, 44 of these horses racing tonight sold in Indiana sales for less than $15,000. So the value is terrific here in Indiana.
A small investment can make a large return. Let's talk about a big investment. I know you guys have made one recently over at another one of your properties, Souder Downs, just outside Columbus, Ohio.
Well, that's a track that is completely different than it used to be. We built a brand new grandstand. We built a brand new paddock, and we're getting ready to host the 2026 Breeders' Crown there next year, which we're very excited to bring that event to Columbus, Ohio.
Should be a great night. Brand new grandstand, brand new paddock. We'll be there, I know, guys. That's the Breeders' Crown next season over at Souder Downs.
Really looking forward to all that great stuff going on there. Souder Downs, talking about Hoosier Park as well. I've met Mr. Joe Morris one time.
Okay.
When I was very young in my career. I met him one time, gave him a resume. Didn't work out. But I was a very young pup then. We got plenty more here when we come back on America's Day at the Races from all the great connections. And we're going to talk about Twin Joe Fresh, a name that everybody should know. Looking to go back-to-back in the Breeders' Crown. Still so much more here on FS1, America's Day at the Races.
In Indiana, we grow it. And when it comes to harness racing, the Indiana program has grown to become one of North America's very best. Breed Development and the ISA have been there every step of the way by overseeing and promoting the Indiana Sire racing, breeding, and stakes programs at every level. We're working to ensure a right future for all of us.
Twinbee Joe Fresh accelerates. Twinbee Joe Fresh, a powerhouse, left them in the dust here. On the far outside, Sylvia Hanover. Twinbee Joe Fresh locks it down in the Breeders' Crown, and a record 6 crowns for Dexter Dunn. Twinbee Joe Fresh dominates over Kobe's Gigi.
And there you see an impressive performance, Twinbee Joe Fresh, and you can feel the excitement. You can hear it in the track announcer's voice. When you come to those moments and these big moments, you like to see a performance like that.
Sitting right up there, right off the finish line, as a matter of fact, on our set when she got the job done in that spot. And she was just the goods, you know. I mean, there was never a doubt in that race that she was not going to get that job done.
Then taking a look at Twinbee Joe Fresh, I mean, trying to go back-to-back and trying to replicate those types of performances. You look at that record, 49 starts, 36 wins, 9 seconds with those 2/3, but she's always going to show up. She's always going to give a strong performance, but how difficult is it as we're talking about back-to-back type performances?
Listen, anytime you're going to defend or try and win is going to be difficult. There's a myriad of factors that are going to go into it, right? I mean, first of all, you have to stay healthy and sound. Second of all, you still have to have that competitive fire inside of you. You know, third of all, you have to see if the rest of the crop has played catch-up with you or not. So, I mean, this year's been fun again because in the beginning of the year, Sylvia Hanover had her number, and now she's kind of turned the tables on her a little bit. And I'm a Sylvia Hanover guy, but I got to tell you, I love spending time with Twinbee Joe Fresh and her connections over the summer at the Meadowlands.
And you're going to be spending some time with us as we're going to be having all of that action on the 24th and the 25th, right around the corner, Paul Verderosa. It's going to be on FS2. Make sure you join us for what is going to be a fantastic evening. A couple evenings there, Breeders' Crown.
Yeah,
really looking forward to that
fun.
and having you, the bettors and the fans, joining us all weekend long. All right, taking a look at race number 8, $250,000. There's 1 Power and Steam. Let's talk about the 2 here at 5-2, Dandyman Can.
Big effort to get that first career win last time out in 155, coming home in 27-3 in that spot, taking money off that effort.
Today is a Friday, but you got to have some Sunday swagger, the 3.
I'm hoping he swaggers up in this spot. Nice gate to wire, win in a career best mile last time out.
Here comes the 4 and Swan Effect.
Just had too much to do last week and got the worst of it, so I got parked the entire mile behind dead cover. So definite rebound potential tonight for him.
Mid-range price here, the 5. That's going to be Premier Bluebird.
4th last time out, came home in 26-3 behind the 3 and the 4 in the spot.
Number 6 at 7-2. That's Bravo Alpha.
Taking some money in this spot, 2 back, ran well in that $75,000 stake. Got the job done by half length.
Tim Tetrick trying to pick up another victory here. Here comes the 7, Bluebird Atomic.
2nd last time out. Prior to that, the form's been a little bit spotty for this one.
More long shots here towards the outside. There's the 8.
You know, you can tell in the backstretch that this horse was vulnerable a little bit, kind of engaged a little more when a horse broke outside of him. But at the end of the day, it was just a bad night. We'll see if this horse can rebound off that effort.
And here is the 9 here. Not quite on the track, but I'm sure we'll be out there shortly. Dave Miller, great commission.
Yeah, he's going to need a bike first before he can get out on the track. There we
Usually
go.
works
Bring
well.
some equipment in for him. 2nd last time out, beaten a length.
And there's the 10, Hot Yoga.
One thing I have never done. Just hot yoga. I know somebody who's an instructor, though, by the way. Boring information for anybody that cared out there. Last time out, took some money in that spot, but got beat 5 lengths in that spot.
The 3 and the 4 are going to be right next door to each other here in this upcoming 8th race. And here's a look at a September 30th effort. Common competition. What did you see here, Paul?
Well, for me in this spot, Swan Effect got the worst of this. Had too much work to do and didn't help being parked the entire mile just about. Got stuck behind dead cover as well. So I think the draw is better for this horse tonight. I think he'll be back on his game for the big money with a more comfortable trip. And before that, you know, he won 3 starts in this leg by open lengths. You know, also took down, you know, a couple of other races earlier in the year, 6 for 9 as well. And listen, Sunday Swagger, nice gate to wire win. Career best mile for this horse. They left within 10. There was good early speed, finished up with good early trot as well and late trot. So we'll see if he's going to bring that same trot tonight in this spot.
Okay, how far back do you feel Swan Effect is going to be in this spot?
I hope not as far back as last time, that's for sure. So I'm hoping that he's going to be within a couple of lengths this time and not end up being parked the entire way.
And your top selection is going to be the 4?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go with the 4 Swan Effect in here, but I'm giving a long look to Sunday Swagger as well based off the last effort.
All right, we'll see if Paul's ticket does continue. We'll see if Swan Effect is as far back as last time. It's race number 8. Gabe, Jess, plenty more here. Tonight's 8th.
Yeah, definitely plenty more on tap. Good group of horses we have in here, Gabe. A good betting board as well. Lukewarm 2-1 favorite, your top choice, Dandy Man Can. Atlee Bender does the driving for father-in-law Irv Miller, coming off of a very solid win, 27-3 at the end of it.
It was a very good effort. 0 for 7 just to begin his career, so he did win last out. And we're trying to start a winning streak after that 0 for 7 start. But I think he can. He's got the better post, I think, of his main rivals here. He goes for trainer Irv Miller, Atlee Bender, the bike. He's been a little bit of an erratic colt. Obviously, these colts have to maintain, on the trot. He had some stride issues. He would break stride from time to time, just a little bit of a hard head. I think it took him a little bit to really learn what he was doing, but he couldn't have possibly looked any better, I should say, in that last try. I think that's why you're seeing the fans react here with him being the co-favorite right now up at the board.
5-2 on the 6 Bravo Alpha. A good win in the Madison County here a couple of weeks ago. Third place finish behind Dandy Man Can last time out. Good versatility to this guy.
And talk about some of the national drivers that are in town tonight. Tim Tetrick did win with them there on September the 19th. That was the only time he sat behind them. Doug Wright had said, you know what? We've got another $250,000 race coming up. How about you come back out and drive him again? So Tim's back at the bike. He's 1 for 1 his second try behind Bravo Alpha, another logical contender in what is a bit of a wide open affair.
Yeah, definitely. Good betting board we have here. Current lukewarm 5-2 favorite is the 2 Dandy Man Can. Up next, the 2-year-old Colton Gelding's on the trot for Indiana Sire Stakes Super Final. Michael Chamberlain has that call.
Midwest Standardbred horse sale starting gate is on the move for race 8. First leg of the $10,000 guaranteed pick 5 on races 8 through 12. 5-2 on Dandy Man Can, Swan Effect, and Bravo Alpha, all at that 5-2 figure. Here they come. They are off. And Sunday Swagger starts well. Premier Bluebird and Swan Effect moving right up. Dandy Man Can, Power and Steam down to the inside. Hot Yoga is 6th, and then the rest are fanned across the racetrack. Bravo Alpha, Bluebird Atomic, Swan Bye Bye, and Great Commission gets the worst of it and is widest of all going on to the turn. As they move around the turn, it's Sunday Swagger in front through a quarter mile of 27-4. Sunday Swagger with the lead going on to the backstretch. Next in second is Swan Effect as Sunday Swagger opens up a 2.5 length lead. Back in third, Dandy Man Can, and then following that is Power and Steam. Premier Bluebird races along in 5th. Hot Yoga next, then Bravo Alpha. Bluebird Atomic is 8th, and then Swan Bye Bye and Great Commission bringing up the rear. As they come to the half-mile pole, Sunday Swagger, that lead now down to a length through a half mile of 56 3/5. Swan Effect is second. Dandy Man Can takes to the outside. Power and Steam moving up wide as well. And then Bravo Alpha tries to move through to the inside of Premier Bluebird. Hot Yoga is caught up on the outside. Bluebird Atomic, Great Commission, Swan Bye Bye went on a break on the turn. Sunday Swagger trying to go all the way in front, still has it a neck. Dandy Man Can is second. Power and Steam moving up with Swan Effect and Bravo Alpha. 3/4, 125-4. They're into the stretch, and Dandy Man Can now puts ahead in front. Sunday Swagger to the inside. Power and Steam. Premier Bluebird is closing sharply here nearest the grandstand. Bravo Alpha also trying to come on. Premier Bluebird here on the outside to take the lead for Kyle Wilfong. It is Premier Bluebird, and Premier Bluebird gets it done, winning here by 2. Second was Dandy Man Can. Bravo Alpha third. Power and Steam fourth. 154-4.
It is the 5 here in Premier Bluebird to run down those early leaders to get the money. Impressive performance there. Kyle Wilfong, Gabe, Jess, your trackside. What did we see there? The 5 pulling off what seems to be a mid-range upset.
Marcus Miller took things into his own matter in that opening panel, Gabe. He ended up getting a bit of a separation there up the backside, and that kind of towed a couple of them into it. And Premier Bluebird just benefited from a perfect trip.
Yeah, he did. He did get a nice trip, but he took full advantage. He's just going to vault past this field late. Sort of a dedicated close, and the race really fell apart. A little bit of a surprise, just Sunday Swagger. Not an overly taxing tempo on the lead, so tonight just not his night. As he started to falter, Dandy McCann took over for the lead briefly. He had done a lot of work there on the outside, though. He was uncovered, just could not survive this long home stretch at Hoosier Park, and it was a fresh Premier Bluebird who set sail late and going to pull off a mild upset at 5-1.
Yeah, Premier Bluebird and Sunday Swagger were both primarily driven by Kyle Wilflong. He decided to stay with Premier Bluebird. Gave new lifetime mark, 154-4.
How about that? 6 of 13 now to kick off his career. We heard Joe Morris talk about some of those inexpensive yearling purchases here in the state of Indiana. Premier Bluebird, last fall, guys, he went through the ring for $4,500. He's now the Indiana champion. He takes the $250,000 final here tonight.
Wow, impressive stuff, great stuff there. Kyle Wilfong gets the job done. You saw the fist pump there, looked very confident crossing the wire. Premier Bluebird runs him down.
Yeah, tripped out in the spot, and really nice effort now, and really paying dividends on that $4,500 investment. And, that's what it's all about, and that's what we see with a lot of the state-bred programs. You just see some horses that either fall through the cracks or don't go for as much, and they turn into stars.
Yeah, especially with these young 2-year-olds here, you can see that improvement. But this trot was impressive here from the 5. Premier Bluebird at a mid-range price, 5-1. Mild upset. A big one of those pick 4s. We got plenty more here. America's Day at the Races. Fist pump.
Premier Acres, located in northern Indiana, a premier breeding farm with state-of-the-art facilities and a team of dedicated caretakers. An impressive roster with some of the leading sires, including Temporal Hanover, Best in Show, Freaky Feet Pete, and more. Premier Acres, where winners are bred.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
The 2025 Global Symposium on Racing. It's the premier networking event of the year. Connect with the who's who of racing. Collaborate face-to-face with key decision makers. Be a part of the international conversation. Discover the latest technology and innovation. Join us December 8th through 10th. Register at racingsymposium.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race from every track on every screen every day. Monthly packages starting as low as $5 per month. RTN gives you great value and access to more HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit rtn.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire.
of course, coming in fall 2026. You saw the logo there, the new Belmont Park. Really looking forward to it. Just a magnificent video that really sets things up, and you see the renderings. Just a gorgeous setting in a gorgeous area, and really looking forward to what the future brings there at Belmont Park, because it's really going to be a spectacle and something to really view in person as we kind of keep getting excited. We keep getting a little bit more and more information.
Yeah, I know, and getting closer and closer and closer. For someone like me who is not the best with some change, it can be very nostalgic at times. I am truly looking forward to this because I do believe that it's going to be a really state-of-the-art, great building for us, and the racing is always going to be great. So I'm looking forward to it, and it should be fun.
Yeah.
It really should be.
Tremendous safe surfaces, a lot of great racing to look forward to, and a lot of the top connections. It's going to be really great for the thoroughbred world to really kind of get that new experience at Belmont Park. So looking forward to that fall of 2026. Right now, it is fall of 2025, and we got plenty of harness racing action still at Hoosier Park. And there's your winner, of course, taking a look at Premier Bluebird. Really impressive performance there from off the pace, gets the victory, and it was nice to see a horse trot from off the pace here tonight because we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, and really got a nice trip. It was able to parlay that into a big win for some big money here in this spot, but came home with 26-3 in that last part and made up a lot of ground. So surprising, but not exactly surprising.
Jessica Otten there with winning driver Kyle Wilfong.
Premier Bluebird upsets a bit there in that last race. I have winning driver Kyle Wilfong. You've been this guy's primary driver for the last several weeks now. But first and foremost, I want to talk about this trip. Couldn't have mapped it out quite any better.
No, the cover was perfect. The tempo was warm. Everything just worked out great.
Talk about this guy in the last couple of races. He's really seemed to excel.
Yeah, the first time I drove him, just bad luck. Got in a tight spot with him. He makes a break. Just driver error. After that, he's been really sharp.
You've driven the horse that was leading the mile throughout most of his season as well. Your horse seems to show a really nice late kick as of late. Did you think you had enough to get to him at the wire?
I sure hope so. That horse is a nice horse, too. I really enjoyed driving him, but Jay gave me the heads up to go ahead and take him, and it worked out in the end.
Nice job.
Thank you.
There you have it. Premier Bluebird upsets there in the super final for the Indiana Sire Stakes.
Great super final there, and great stuff there from Jessica Otten and Kyle Wilfong. Talked about the trip, and you know, pace makes the race. We talk about that plenty, and really Premier Bluebird was able to catch a little bit of pace. Some kind of interesting trips up front, but got the job done.
Yeah, a little disappointing for Sunday Swagger, who, you know, went out there, wasn't that taxing, and Swan Effect, too, was a no-show completely as well, too.
Yeah. Plenty more to look forward to. We'll see if we see a few more of those mid-range prices, some of those upsets. Pick 4 tickets are up, but still plenty of wagering to look forward to on the night. We got race number 9 coming up here. Another $250,000. Do I have to say it again? 3-year-old fillies on the trot here, going that 1 mile. Wide open betting race right now. You take a look at the outside. Will it be another Bluebird? Bluebird Lola towards the outside at 5-2.
I'm hoping so from the seconds here off that 15-1 morning line. I was not expecting this horse to be currently favored in this spot. But last week, you know, I just think it was a case back on the first where, you know, you may look at her and say she didn't win a race, but in that race, you know, she kept up with Miracle Maven in that spot. And she just didn't want to be on the inside, I don't think, as well. She was a little uncomfortable in the stretch down inside and in behind horses, didn't want to go through that hole that was there. So I think now drawing the seconds here with a more comfortable outside trip, I think she's primed to get her first win tonight. I was just hoping for a little bit better price.
Let's take a look at the number 5 in Miracle Maven. You talk about 3-1 currently on the board. 50 to win is the 7 in this upcoming race as well. Go back to this October 1st effort. What do you see here between these two?
Well, 50 to win laid out some pretty stiff splits in there. Took that challenge from Miracle Maven, and to be fair, they threw down, you know, in the stretch, and they were trotting pretty strongly, and you can see Bluebird Lola's the 5 on the rail there, and she just didn't want to kind of go through there in that spot. They tried to get her outside, no room, tried to bring her down inside. I just think she wanted to go down in there, but Miracle Maven got the job done. I think that night she was an overlay at 8-5, to be honest with you, in that spot, and 50 to win, I don't think she ran that badly at all in defeat. She had trot late as well. But for me, I just want to give a shot to that 10 tonight. It was now a better price.
All right, post-parade time here. It's March 7. Currently even money, the 1.
She took it a lot of air first time going first over Journey last time out. I think today she's got a better trip now on the rail coming for her.
17 to 1 here on the 2. Classical Jane.
Beaten 2.5 lengths last time out. She'll have to improve off that effort.
And the 3 is going to be 14-1, A Million Dances.
Likes to show some good early trot in her races. Just missed by a head last time out at a big number.
Dancing theme right now. Here is Let 'em Dance, the 4 at 17-1.
Only beaten a length last time out at 68-1 for this filly to come from off the pace in this spot.
John DeLong here is going to have the number 5 in Miracle Maven. We just saw for that last effort.
Yeah, she's posted well to get another good trip in here off whatever speed is in this spot.
And Melanie Wren, we talk about coming up a little bit later on and odds on Mr. Mamba, but here is a big long shot here, 58-1.
Going to have to improve. Has been beaten several lengths by quite a few of these throughout this series.
50 to win here, 5-1 the 7.
Okay, put 50 to win, down on the nose. We saw what happened last race on this filly. We'll see what she can do tonight.
There is the 8 in Swan Jewel.
Yeah, beaten 5.5 last time out. Wasn't really involved. We'll have to do better here.
And 2 more to the outside. Here is the 9, Better Take 'em.
Henry Grabber Jr. having a great year, and this horse won by a head last time out.
And we've got Bluebird Lola, who took a lot of that early action, I think, off of that replay, too, but 5-1 currently on the board.
That's a better price. I'm still hoping for a little something higher, but we'll see if she gets a more comfortable trip outside of horses in this spot, looking for that first win of the season.
That is the field of 10 here on this 9th race coming up. It's going to be the 3-year-old fillies on the trot, $250,000, so a really exciting race that is going to be coming up here tonight from this New York studio, and of course trackside at Hoosier Park. But we're getting ready to jump over to FS2 in a second. But any last thoughts here before we jump over there on FS1 for our viewers for this upcoming race? One thing to think about before we jump on over there.
I would look early to see where Bluebird Lola shakes out in this spot, because if she's far back, it's going to be a little bit of a problem from that second tier. I think she's going to have to be mid-pack in this spot. But I think I would like to see her odds go up a little bit more. In this spot, it's interesting to see the 1 is favored right now at 6-5 and taking a lot of money.
It does seem like heavy action right now on March 7. Kyle Wilfong, maybe some of the bettors there, a nice crowd there in Indiana. They're just saying, hey, we saw Kyle Wilfong get the victory. Maybe we go right back there.
Could be. I mean, last time out, though, she was first over. She took in a lot of air on that trip visually. Looked like she was going to idle mid-stretch, but then she tried a game lead to the wire. She was missed by a neck. I would have liked her to be second in that spot instead of third, but to be fair, you know, Better Talkum got the perfect rail trip. Rail opened up, and she went through.
We've talked about the 10. We've talked about the 1. We are going to jump on over to FS2. Here on FS1, you've got college football coming up. Rutgers versus Washington. You've got that to look forward to. If you want to keep following us on the hardest action, America's Day at the Races, jump on over to FS2. Check your local listings, but we're coming up with that 9th race from Hoosier Park, America's Day at the Races. Enjoy college football. America's Day at the Races here on FS2 as we head to Anderson, Indiana. Oh, a beautiful place here. Hoosier Park, as we've got some great Indiana Sire Stakes throughout the evening. Looking forward to bringing race number 9 your way. Chris Griffin joined by, of course, our analyst, Paul Verderosa. We've got Gabe Pruitt and Jessica Otten trackside, but we've got some great Indiana Sire Stakes action. We're getting close to Breeders' Crown, Paul, but tonight we've got those $250,000 stakes races, and we've still got a pretty big name later on in the card.
Yeah, we got a few big names still coming up. We got odds on Mamba coming up. We got on to Norway as well. So some big names with some big winning streaks, some big times, and some good times for the Indiana breeding program, because stars, they're on display tonight, and we're seeing just how good that program is.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us here on FS2 as we do take a look at that 9th race that is coming up. It's going to be for the 3-year-olds. It's the fillies. They are going to be on that trot, and you take a look at the $250,000. And right now the action is with the 1, March 7, who we kind of felt like, as we were talking about, Paul, that maybe this is a little bit shorter price. You see the price kind of start to drop again. You wanted to see a little higher on the 10. What say you here as we take a look at this field of 10 before tonight's night?
Well, for me, I'm just looking to get Bluebird Lola that first victory of the season, because I don't think that she raced that badly last time out. She was able to keep up with the 5 in here, Miracle Maven, and also the 750 to win, where they threw down in the stretch, trotted up a storm in that race. I think she couldn't find any room at one part of the stretch. They tried to bring her outside, couldn't go there, tried to bring her inside. She just refused to go through that hole. I think that was sort of opening up for her. I know that she's got second tier post tonight, but I think she will do better if she can get a trip and be outside of horses.
All right, looking forward to that 9th race coming up here, $250,000. Can't do it alone, though. We got to head out there to Anderson, Indiana. Of course, Jessica Otten, Gabe Pruitt, other members of our team. They've got the 9th race, and they are a little bit closer to the action than we are. How's your night, guys? And we continue on this jam-packed, really, really impressive card.
Well, fall is definitely here. It's a little chilly here tonight, guys, but that doesn't mean the racing is cold. It's been hot so far through the first 7, 8 races on the card. Over $2 million up for grabs, Gabe, and this is the night that all the horsemen on the backstretch work for.
Oh, there's no question. It's the showcase night here in Indiana, Jess, and yeah, fall is in the air. We started about mid-60s here, probably mid to low 50s now, so not too bad. We're just about 40 miles northeast of downtown Indianapolis here in Anderson, Indiana, but still plenty of great action to come on this card that we're going to bring to you over the next hour.
You know, great action on tap here in the 9th race, Indiana Sire Stakes Super Final for those 3-year-old filly trotters. Nice field of 10 in here, and we were just talking a bit off camera. I was like 15-1 on the morning line for Bluebird Lola. She's taken plenty of action off of that. 9-2 right now, Gabe, and she was loaded last week.
Yeah, she really was. The better's just too sharp for that. I know Paul's top choice, my top choice here as well. She just had nowhere to race. Now, Jess, this is a filly that was a private purchase for the sport's all-time leading trainer. Ron Burke and his connections bought her about 45 days ago. Since she's moved over to Ron Burke's barn, well, she's yet to miss the board. She's had 3 seconds and 2/3. However, she's yet to win a race. But last time I think she was going to win. She was just hopelessly pinned in. One thing about driver Yannick Gingras, we know him at a national level. Of course, last year's Hamiltonian winning driver with Carl. Very aggressive. Now, the second-tier post 10 could be a little bit to his detriment, but I do not think we're going to have to worry about Bluebird Lola being pinned in this start. Yannick typically very aggressive. I think he will absolutely put her in play here and give her a chance if she's good enough.
You know, sometimes post 10 can be tricky, especially for young trotters. She'll have to overcome that tonight, but she's got a couple of good ones to follow. The Rail Horse is taking some money. Mard 7 for Junior Haynes. Kyle Wilflong with a little bit of an upset in there. That one's coming off of a neck beat, 27-3 last quarter. Last time out, Gabe, she took plenty of steam on the tote board as well. She's got 4 wins so far this season.
I'll tell you what, she didn't take plenty of steam last year, Jess. This is the reigning champion. These are the 3-year-old filly trotters in Indiana. Well, last year with $250,000 on the line, a lot of these same fillies hooked up at the age of 2. She was a winner at 33-1, a bomber to get it done. Since that point, well, the fans have taken notice. She's had a solid campaign here at the age of 3. How about the price this year? Just 2-1. Not near as juicy as that big long shot price we saw from her last year.
Yeah, and a bargain purchase at the Hoosier Classic sale, $9,500 to purchase this daughter of Swan for all. The favorite right now, the current favorite, lukewarm 5-2 on Miracle Maven. She's coming off of back-to-back wins, one in the eligibles, one in the Sire Stakes action. She looks like she's plenty versatile too.
10 of 18 in her career. She's a deserving favorite. I'll concede to that fact, Jess. I just think this is one of the more wide open events we have on tonight's card. It's just awfully tough for me to swallow a 3-2 price. You know, obviously she's got a shot if things work into her hands. She's got a perfect post to do so here. Post 5, the most successful poster at Hoosier Park, wins at nearly 20%. So you get plenty of options. She can lead the gate, get a little position, or she can take back if the pace seems hot, maybe and try and come from off the pace. So, you know, it's going to be a bit of a chess match off the gate. One thing is for sure, I don't think there's a lot separating some of the top fillies here. I just think it's an uber competitive group as we get set for the 9th race. Again, with that big money on the line, $250,000.
Bluebird Lola, Gabe's top choice, 4-1 right now. Lukewarm, now 7-5 favorite on the 5 Miracle Maven. 3-year-old trotting fillies take the stage next for the Indiana Sire Stakes Super Final. Michael Chamberlain with the call.
Midwest Standardbred horse sale starting gate starts to roll for race 9. Pick 3 on races 9, 10, and 11 beginning here. 7-5 favorite is Miracle Maven as the field turns into the stretch. Here they come. They are up. In the center, Miracle Maven got to a very good start to the inside Classical Jane. From the outside, Better Tackham, and Better Tackham goes up to take control. Miracle Maven and Swan Jewel are now battling for second. Inside that 4th is Classical Jane. with the field moving on to the turn. March 7 gets away in 5th, and then Bluebird Lola is 6th to the outside. Next are A Million Dances and 50 to Win, and the last two are Let 'em Dance and Ponda Jewel. 27-3 for that first quarter. On the back stretch, and moving up on the outside now to take the lead is Swan Jewel. Atlee Bender puts Swan Jewel in front by 3/4 of a length. Better Tackham is second. Miracle Maven to the outside now third, and here she comes advancing from that position. After that are Classical Jane and March 7 as they hit the half in 56-1. Bluebird Lola is next to the outside of A Million Dances, and then comes 50 to Win with Let 'em Dance and Ponda Jewel. Miracle Maven, the even money favorite, has now taken over. Has it by 3 lengths. March 7 up on the outside of Swan Jewel. Then Better Tackham is 4th. 5th is Classical Jane with Bluebird Lola to the outside, and Bluebird Lola goes on a break. Bluebird Lola on a break right at the top of the stretch. 3/4, 124-3. Off the turn, Miracle Maven turning it on. In front now by 5. Better Tackham, March 7. Classical Jane. It's Miracle Maven in front to the final 8th. March 7 is trying to get closer, and also dropping down to the inside is A Million Dances. Miracle Maven has it by 6. Miracle Maven is gone. Goodbye. A very emphatic winner tonight. Second was March 7, then A Million Dances and Classical Jane, 153-3.
Well, Gabe had a long shot take things into his own hands there. Swan Jewel from post 8 left aggressively for Atlee Bender, and that kind of forced the hand a bit there of Miracle Maven from third to come first over. And there you can see in the stretch, she just opened away.
Yeah, the long shot left, and that forced a little early battle between both the 8 and 9. And this was actually just an absolute heads-up drive from driver John DeLong. Once he saw Swan Jewel make the lead, he knew it was his time to go right now. That filly was not going to be able to leave him to the outside. He knew he could quickly move to the lead, advance, and he got the jump on his rivals. But I'll tell you what, I'm not sure it mattered. This was a very convincing win. Again, we talked about thinking this is a bit of a wide open affair. At the end of the day, it was absolutely not. This was the real Miracle Maven that has shown back up here now, her 3rd consecutive win. The last one by a head, 2 back by half a length. Tonight, by a ton. She captures the Indiana final in fine fashion.
Paul, you kept thinking that Miracle Maven was going to come back to the field. We were taking a look at the 10. Broke stride, just out of the race. But with Miracle Maven, this performance opened up through the lane. John DeLong's having a good night and just did not stop. I thought Whoop was very impressive. This performance, right up there for me.
Yeah, this was a solid effort. John DeLong has many good nights there. That's his backyard. But for Miracle Maven, yeah, the real Miracle Maven's back for sure. Now 6 for 10 this year, and pushed those earnings over 250,000 with this start. So yeah. Doing good this year for this horse, and actually getting back to what she was doing best earlier on this year too, which was winning authoritatively. I know it's a half ahead, but this one was just a solid effort and tripped out, and nice time too for this horse.
Yeah, it's really quite something to watch the replays, and we were taking a look at some of the replays just not that long ago, but this completely different tactics it seemed like, and this was just a powerhousing victory.
Physically, you could see she was going to romp as they got down the backside, so when she got out. So good effort.
Miracle Maven gets it done, gets the winner's blanket, a big celebration in the winner's circle, and a nice slow-mo replay on a powerful performance. Come on back, FS2. It's America's Day at the Races.
Zaccheo, Flatterer, Flat Top, McDynamo, Goodnight Shirt, Snap Decision. Legends that have defined steeplechasing's finest hour. For over a century, the Far Hills Race Meeting has set the gold standard for racing. On October 18th, the tradition continues at Moreland Farm. Come be a part of the pageantry, beauty, and excitement of steeplechase racing's biggest day. Tickets are available now at farhillsrace.org.
Winner Circle time there at Hoosier, but of course it's winner's payout time too. It's brought to you in part by Naira Bets. America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Any track, anywhere, anytime. You can visit NairaBets.com or you can download that Naira Bets app and get started right here today. Taking a look at this stretch performance one more time at Miracle Maven. No miracle here. This was just a dominant performance. The field never could catch her, and she was just gone.
It's funny, too, because John DeLong popped the plugs there, too, at the top of the stretch. He probably didn't even need to do that on her. She still would have won by open lengths in that spot. Good late trot, solid to the wire, and just was way too much for this field. The good Miracle Maven came to play tonight.
Yeah, not bad when you can do that in a $250,000 purse race as well, to really put on a big show and a big performance. There you see some of those payouts. Did go off as the favorite there, even money favorite at Miracle Maven, March 7, rounding out that exact day. Caught a little bit of a price there in third, A Million Dances.
A nice effort for A Million Dances, getting back to one of her better races as well. I mean, she's run second in a couple of these starts. So that's good that she got a piece of it for the big money, because you like to see that as they go through this too, especially the hard workers that have hit the board in like every start, throughout this series, when they can get a piece for the big money against the bigger names that they've kind of either danced with or avoided, depending on what division you were in for some of these races. It's always a good thing.
If you played along, caught about $250 there in the pick four. Jessica Otten with the winning connections after tonight's race.
Thanks, guys. I have winning co-owner Frank Baldacchino. First and foremost, Frank, you've had a lot of success with the Indiana Sire Stake program. You come back year after year, a guy from the East Coast to the Midwest. Maybe just allude to that and the success you've had here.
It's been going on like 20 years now since I've been buying the Indiana breds, and the program's great out here. It's evolved, and now it's at the epitome of Sire Stakes. I mean, it's right up there with the best programs in the country, and I love racing out here. I've had a lot of success, and knock on wood, we have a little more success tonight.
We've seen plenty of your horses from Indiana go on the Grand Circuit State recently. MM's Dream, of course, we saw her earlier on in the night. So they take you on pretty nice rides outside of the state of Indiana.
Yeah, they can compete anywhere. I mean, the Indiana program is right up there with anybody, and the horses that come out of here that race at Hoosier Park, it's tough racing. They're not giving you anything out here, and they can go on and compete on the Grand Circuit. So it's fun. It's fun out here, and it's fun to take them as 4-year-olds to the next level.
Let's talk about Miracle Maven a bit. You purchased her after the previous owners had her. She's been really nice for you. We'll talk about her season this year. Super solid. A good group of horses she's had to face, but she looked pretty good out there tonight.
Yeah, she's been great since we bought her last year. She came up sick in the Super Final at 2, which is naturally disappointing. But this year, she's been steady all year round. She came out super, and she's finishing tonight pretty good. And she still has some other stakes here going forward, so hopefully she'll finish out the year strong, and you'll see her on the Grand Circuit as a 4-year-old.
Congratulations, Frank.
Thanks, Jess.
There you have it. Miracle Maven gets the job done in 3-year-old trotting filly. Super final night here at Hoosier Park. Back to you guys.
Miracle Maven with that performance. Thank you very much, Jessica Otten, there with another wonderful owner, Frank Baldacchino. And you're talking about just the environment that everyone's in. You got the fans showing up for the racing. You've got the breeding program that continues to ascend. You've got the great TV coverage and watching us nationally. Thank you to our audience out there. But you really start to see it through the connections, too. Now, they get excited. They talk about the purse money that's involved. And when you put these programs together, you're going to really see it grow. And they've got some really great things going on, not only here tonight, but all season long over at Hoosier Park.
Yeah, and why not? Why not fall in love with it? Why not love to see your horse out there performing? There's a pride factor in all of this, because they are with these horses from birth, from conception to birth, and getting prepared to go to their next barns and to their stables and, get to see them perform. And it's just a labor of love. It really is when you look at it from top to bottom with everybody that's involved. So there is definitely a big pride factor, and it's great to see.
Road trip. Sounds like we got to head out to Indiana sometime soon.
Home again in Indiana. Let's go.
Race number 10 is coming up here. 2-year-old Colton Gelding's Pace. I don't think we're going to make it by this race, but 1-9 odds on Mr. Mamba. We've talked about him plenty. Dexter Dunn with the driving duties. 1-9, $250,000 purse. What else can you say? I can't say anything more. I'm going to let you take it, Paul Verderosa.
I mean, the only thing I can say is, what can he do after a world record historic performance, being the fastest 2-year-old in harness racing history, finishing up in 1:47.4, pacing that mile in this start. So what's the encore? That's all I have to ask in this spot. Something faster than that 53-3 back half that he put on there. And listen, I don't think that he's got to go nearly as fast to win tonight. I'm not even saying that or putting that in the conversation. Take away the world record. He was still on an 8-race heater going into that race. So it's not like he wasn't winning prior to that.
Yeah, and right behind Odds on Mr. Mamba is Dancing Dreamer, and it wasn't that far back. I know we're talking about two kind of different animals right now, but the margin of victory wasn't that much. So we'll see if maybe not a world record performance, but another impressive performance here from Odds on Mr. Mamba.
Yeah, I mean, I would think for sure, he is better posted than Dancing Dreamer, who's in the second tier. So we'll see what happens tonight, but Odds on Mr. Mamba for me tonight.
Planning to hear about from the race, but let's hear from the connections as our Jessica Otten was with trainer Melanie Wren a little bit earlier this afternoon.
Thanks, guys. I have trainer Melanie Wren, who trains Odds on Mr. Mamba. First and foremost, obviously a spectacular 2-year-old. Let's go back to the beginning. Talk about his progression, because he obviously started off, his only loss of the year was that first start, and then he's just progressed ever since.
Yes, he has. Peter's done like an amazing job with him. He like when he started off driving him, he's like not gonna just like gun him the first time. So he raced him exactly how he wanted to do the first time, and he pretty much knew right then he was a really nice colt. But I don't think he knew he was quite as nice as he is. So we're very fortunate to have the colt.
Speaking of nice colt, he looks like he's pretty nice out on the track. What's he like in the barn?
He's just a pleasure. Everything about him, he has no bad habits, and I mean, he's just like a pet.
Odds on Racing, Mr. Dana Parham, of course. This is a homebred for him. He puts a lot of money back into the business. I bet it's pretty exciting to get to train a horse like this for him.
I am so glad that Dana got a horse like this. If anybody deserves a horse like Odds on Mr. Mamba, it is Dana Parham. He does put a lot of money into the industry, and he is great for our sport.
Now, a couple weeks ago, or I guess a week ago now, that world record performance came out of Odds on Mr. Mamba. I don't think I saw you in the winner's circle, but what were you thinking when that time popped up?
Oh my, you know what? When you said it, I just got the chills again. I was watching the race. I was looking at yearlings, and I just didn't make it back here in time. And I said, you know what? I think he's going to go 149 again. And when the timer popped up, it was like absolutely no way. I mean, it was crazy.
I know there were lots of smiles in the winner's circle that night. Of course, Dexter doing the driving there. He'll do the driving again tonight. We wish you all the best of luck.
Great. Thanks, Jess.
We'll send it back to you guys.
1-9 there on Odds on Mr. Mamba. And Paul, you had a quick note on Mr. Mamba.
Yeah, I misspoke a few minutes ago. He's not at 9 or going for 9. He's 6 for 7 lifetime. I can't read my handwriting sometimes, so you got to forgive me on that one.
That's okay. Nobody's perfect. Odds on Mr. Mamba isn't perfect. You're not
he has
perfect.
one loss. He won't have another one, I don't think.
All right, we're going to find out when we come on back here, America's Day at the Races. And yes, can Odds on Mr. Mamba do another breathtaking performance, another world record? Find out. Come on back here on FS2.
In Indiana, we grow it. And when it comes to harness racing, the Indiana program has grown to become one of North America's very best. Breed development and the ISA have been there every step of the way by overseeing and promoting the Indiana Sire racing, breeding, and stakes programs at every level. We're working to ensure a bright future for all of us.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Join us at Sire Park for a ghoulish good time with Bright Night at the Races. With trunk rotating and inflatable corn maze, pumpkin giveaway, and our annual horse costume contest, the whole family will have a frighteningly good night. Not to mention all the edge of your seat thrills of live racing. Bright Night begins at 5 p.m. October 25th.
Hard 7, hard 7!
We breed champions. 2025 yearlings selling at Lexington Selected Yearling Sale, Midwest Standardbred Horse Sale, Standardbred Horse Sale, Harrisburg. Including yearlings by Walner, Chapter 7, Muscle Hill, King of the North, Captain Treacherous, and many more. Visit CountryLaneStandardbreds.com.
Post-parade time here on America's Day at the Races. On tape delay, race number 10 coming up. It's a big one, $250,000. 2-year-old Colts and Geldings. There's the one, J.K. the Great.
Been beaten several lengths in the last few.
Here is the 2, 38-1, big number.
Picks up Yannick Gingras, though, for the first time tonight off 3 straight third-place efforts.
Another big price. You're going to see a lot of this here. Number 3 is going to be King Tell It.
It's been beaten pretty far against odds-on Mr. Mamba in the last 2. It was big prices in each of those starts.
The 4 is going to be Swiss Lights here at 22-1.
Another horse who's been big prices. It's a recurring theme against odds-on Mr. Mamba, but was beaten 4.5 last time, finishing 3rd in that start.
Ron Burke's got the 5. John DeLong, we've seen the name. What? No way.
I tell you, it was a lot of speed early from this Ron Burke horse. Went down the road, 25 and 3, 54 and 3 last time out. We'll see if we get that same speed this time out.
And here is the top name here of the evening, odds on Mr. Mamba. What do you think, Paul Verrosa?
I think that this horse is going to win today. Pretty easily, actually.
1 to 5.
You got to still run the race, man. So we'll see what happens.
All right, here is the 7, 40-1.
Second last time out was beaten at 2.5 by What No Way. Spot.
Kyle Wilfong. Is this going to be another upset here on the 8?
It would be a pretty big one. Just 1 for 8 this season.
The 9 is going to be Fire Inside, Trace Tetrick.
Just 1 for 10. Did show a little bit of early lick last time out, though, off the wings.
And taking a look at the 10 here. The one that is taking the action here outside of your big favorite, 5-1, Dancing Dreamer, has to be based off of that last performance.
So listen, this horse has been the closest to odds-on Mr. Mamba in the last 4 starts, 3 starts anyway, for the most part. So, I mean, 5-1 seconds here does have some positional early speed. We will see what happens and how Dave Miller works out a trip from there.
Okay, from a betting standpoint here, Paul Verderosa, here is the challenge for you. We know you like the 6. Everybody likes the 6. We're 1 to 5 right now. Give us a scenario here because you like the 6 on top. You feel like this is going to be a dominant performance. How are we going to bet this race, though? How are we going to take a look at this?
I would use a little bit of the 4 and the 5 underneath, honestly. I think, you know, a little bit of Swiss Lights as well, a little bit of What No Way, and also the 2. Tells Pure Power. First time Yannick Gingras, a couple of thirds, closing last few times. I know this horse will be heard from a little bit late in the spot at 40-1. So I pair up the 6 in here with the 2, 4, and 5.
I like it. We saw some prices underneath a little bit earlier on the card. Gabe, Jess, what do you guys think? We all like odds on Mr. Mamba. What else do you have here in tonight's 10th?
Well, it is definitely hard to go against odds on Mr. Mamba. Gabe, I was watching the Hoosier Park feed when this guy raced, and you and Jacob were speechless when he hit the wire.
We really were. I mean, this was just an incredible performance. I mean, to say that he is the fastest 2-year-old in the sports history, I mean, that's just incredible. 147 and 4. We knew he was good. We did not know he was maybe in this type of orbit. I don't think we're going to see any world record type efforts here tonight. I mean, it was, let's be honest, it was the first race tonight. It was 82 degrees out. I know it's a little tough to tell. It's not quite 82 degrees out here
really.
tonight. Low 50s probably, but it is, you know, nice night, clear skies. But I think we're a little bit too late in the evening to see any type of sensational performance. But for Team Wren, for driver Dexter Dunn, it's all about getting the money here with $250,000 on the line. And odds on Mr. Mamba, the thing that's been so crazy about his run, Jess, he's done it effortlessly. You know, besides one start, he finished with the earplugs in. What I mean when I say that, Standardbreds, a lot of times they'll race with earplugs in their ears. The driver actually has a string down by their feet. They can kick the earplugs out sort of when they want almost another gear. Late in the stretch, they begin to hear all the noises, and it'll really sometimes make a horse take back off. Well, Dexter Dunn never even had to do that with odds on Mr. Mamba except for one start. That was a start 2 back there. We got just a little bit at a tough spot. He did rally by the win that night as well. So this is a horse, really, you can say, has not taken much of a deep breath. He's just a superstar. This is his final start of his 2-year-old season, so we won't see him in the Breeders' Crown. He's not eligible. You're unable to supplement as a 2-year-old. I'm sure they'll put plenty of big dances on his card next year, but, you know, we're really witnessing history here with the fastest 2-year-old of all time, the final chance we're ever going to see him race as a 2-year-old. That's according to the connections here with the big money on the line. You're taking a look at him right now.
Yeah, I just want to go to that start 2 back, Gabe. 25 and 2 at the end of it. He was, you know, going by a game Malello, and that horse actually come back to win a division of the Bluegrass down in Lexington. And again, some really nice stakes horses. So even if it does look like a short win margin there, he worked for it, but he beat a really nice colt.
Yeah, and that's the question, Jess, because a lot of, there are naysayers out there.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, a lot of people say he hasn't left the state of Indiana. He's beaten Indianabreds, which obviously is in the final with here tonight. But that start two back, that was nearly a $100,000 stakes race here. There were horses from all over the country that came in for that. Melillo from the Warren Burke barn, a very talented colt as well. He got quite the jump on odds on Mr. Mamba. It made no difference. He was able to gun him down. As you said, Melillo, who he beat that night, exited that race to go down in Lexington and win another major stakes event. So I'm not buying that sort of story on odds on Mr. Mamba. Believe me, this is the real deal. This is a sensational colt and a generational type colt maybe. I mean, who knows really how good he is? We haven't seen anything close to his bottom just yet.
A homebred for Mr. Dan Parham's Odd On Racing. Nice to see him get a nice homebred, of course, with all he does for the industry of harness racing. Dancing Dreamer, post 10 for this Aaron Stutzman's training, a $13,000 purchase there. Had that leading call early on in the mile in that record mile last time out. Gave 26 flat to the quarter. He sat the pocket based on 26-1 and didn't really get anywhere near odds on Mr. Mamba.
No, he'll have to negotiate the second tier. You see, he's the second choice there, 5-1. Dave Miller back in town here for the drive tonight. And he was beating only a length and 3/4 in that world record mile last out, Jess. But here's the key. Odds on Mr. Mamba, was not overly exerted. I think the margin could have been much larger. But this is a nice colt in his own right. 7 starts. He's had 3 wins in 4 seconds. So, I mean, he is the main danger. This is a type of race that when you're wagering, you just have to keep your plays narrow. If you're playing trifectas, superfectas, I think it will finish 6-10 here. I don't think you want to really waste any money playing really any other combinations. I just think these two are clearly the best, and that's not to take anything away from this field, but these are two supremely talented colts with bright futures here in the state of Indiana.
Odds on Mr. Mamba, 1-5 on the board right now for Team Wren Post 6, looking to make it 7 in a row. It's the Indiana Sire Stakes Super Final for the 2-year-old pacing colts. Up next, here's Michael Chamberlain.
What kind of encore do we have in store tonight? World record of 147-4 last time, just 8 days ago. Field is now in the stretch. Here they come. They are off. Odds on Mr. Mamba starts well. So does What No Way and JK the Great down on the inside. From the second tier, Dancing Dreamer is up into 4th and Tells Pure Power right alongside. Next is King Tell It with Swiss Lights right in behind that. Moving in 8th position is Bro Romy, then Sogi and Fire Inside. First quarter was 27-1. Odds on Mr. Mamba leads the way onto the back stretch. Second is What No Way. And then after that comes JK the Great, Dancing Dreamer racing along in 4th. Next is Tells Pure Power with King Tell It, who takes to the outside. Also electing to go wide is Swiss Lights. And then another length back to Bro Romy. Sogi is 9th and Fire Inside 10th as they come to the half-mile pole. By there in 56-2, 29-1 for the second quarter. It's odds on Mr. Mamba. Dancing Dreamer is first over and looms as a major threat. What No Way is third, then King Tell It and JK the Great 5th. To the outside, third over is Swiss Lights, Tells Pure Power, followed by Bro Romy, then Fire Inside and Sogi. Odds on Mr. Mamba and Dancing Dreamer. They'll hook up at the top of the stretch. 3 quarters covered in 1:24-2. Third quarter of 28 seconds. Odds on Mr. Mamba. Now opening up the lead. It's out to 3. What No Way trying to re-rally up the inside. Dancing Dreamer dropping back third. Then JK the Great inside the final 8th. It's odds on Mr. Mamba now pulling away. Odds on Mr. Mamba on a night of stars. This is your superstar. Odds on Mr. Mamba wins by 5. Second was What No Way. Then Dancing Dreamer and Swiss Lights 150-2.
Odds on Mr. Mamba going out there, getting the job done to a really, I'm sure, a great crowd there at Hoosier Park, and really impressive effort. Gabe, Jess, your trackside there, what else can you say? You've said plenty, but there can still be so much more. Bright future ahead for this one.
Definitely a bright future ahead for Odds On Mr. Mamba. A couple of levers leaving the gate. JK the Great, what? No way. And Odds On Mr. Mamba. Dexter took things into his own hands and said, I'm going to cut it tonight, boys.
One thing about it, when you're this, talented and on a 1-9 type favorite, you just get all the respect, Jess. So once he made the lead, no one's going to go on a kamikaze mission to go out there and challenge him. It did appear the driver, Dexter Dunn, if we took a look at that stretch replay there, if you looked at his left leg there in the race bucket, it looked like he did maybe kick the plugs tonight. He decided to, let the big guy go and took him off the leash a little bit, so to speak. A much the best winner. Ultimately, it was just a very tough trip tonight for Dancing Dreamer. He was out there on the outside, and he had to do a lot of that work uncovered. He was unable to draft along there. And, when you are coming up to battle a horse like Odds On Mr. Mamba, that is just no easy task. So he, I think, ended up missing in the place photo, but this is a very nice gelding here. Odds On Mr. Mamba. Again, that is ultimately his last start as a 2-year-old. I mean, we are just so excited to see this guy put away and come back at the age of 3. And again, not only here in the state of Indiana, I think we'll see this guy all over North America.
A 150-2 effort, Gabe. Not easy to do on a chilly night like today either.
No, and it was effortless. I mean, I think that's the thing about it. It was really a horse that was not overly taxed here. You see, he's just out there, was out for a Friday night stroll, for that matter, made quick work of his rivals in just another unbelievable performance.
Unbelievable performance indeed. Dexter Dunn, an embarrassment of riches. It just seems like he's got a lot of driving duties where he's going to have a lot of top contenders throughout the rest of the season. But Odds On Mr. Mamba, what did you think, Paul? I mean, you saw kind of the same thing Jess and Gabe did, but what else is there to add?
I said to you when they hit the first turn, race over. When he made the top, and he did it rather easily there. So, no way, I thought ran decent enough in that spot. Left like, he did last time out, and it's a big number in that spot. I kind of disagree a little bit, and I don't do that often with Gabe with Dancing Dreamer. I kind of felt like that he got a good enough spot early on. He sat 4th. He did get flushed out first over in that spot, but I don't think he was going to have anything for the winner anyway. And I also don't like the fact that he didn't run second in that spot and get by the 5.
Quite possibly, we don't know. Maybe his last performance here as a 2-year-old, we'll see, but a bright future ahead for the Indiana bred. That is Odds On Mr. Mamba. Plenty more about this superstar on America's Day at the Races.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Back here on America's Day at the Races, and you see right into the winner's circle here, odds on Mr. Mamba continues his role, his domination, a future superstar, a superstar already right now, definitely in the state of Indiana, right there at Hoosier Park, and you see the very happy connections and a very happy driver, Dexter Dunn. Gabe Pruitt is with him right now.
Thanks a lot, Chris, standing by with driver Dexter Dunn. And Dex, what a tremendous performance. I know it was a bit of a coronation, I suppose, as a huge favorite, but he couldn't have been any more impressive tonight.
Yeah, no, he really couldn't have been, Gabe. He felt great out there. He moved forward with him early, got the front pretty good, and he was travelling like a winner the whole way. And, you know, when I asked him to quicken at the top of the straight, his acceleration was, it was excellent, and he really sprinted hard.
In a different league, and talk to us about how you've come to drive odds on Mr. Mamba. The last few starts, you got on board with this guy, and it's met a great teamwork.
Yeah, I mean, I travel around the country. I was here probably a month, 6 weeks ago, and Pete said, I got a nice 2-year-old I'd like you to drive, and this is him. So really lucky that Pete stepped off, got his bum off the seat and let me sit on it because, he's a serious horse.
And obviously now the fastest 2-year-old in the sport's history, virtue of his 147 and 4 win. We were speechless, I know, here at Hoosier Park after that effort. You know, what did you think of the bike? You know, did you think you were going that type of mile? I know it was a warm conditions that night, but, you know, to say he's the fastest ever, that's quite a title.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was pacing along, but he was doing it so easy at the same time, that night. We still had the plugs in and wasn't asking him to extend too much. So, when that time, even when the 3/4 popped up in 21 and 4, I think it was, and then at 47, it was like a double take, to see if that was real or not because he was doing it so easy. But it just shows his class. He's shut down now for the year, and, hopefully he comes back great.
I know you're looking forward to next year with him.
Yeah, it might be a few more trips to Hoosier.
All right, sounds good. Odds on Mr. Mamba, guys. Driver Dexter Dunn. They take the big money final. We've still got one to come here on the show. We've got a big winning streak on the line with odds on the Norway up next.
Thank you very much, Gabe. And, of course, Dexter Dunn. Odds on Mr. Mamba was odds on. 1-9 got it done, but what no way completes your exacta there, 30-1.
Yeah, not bad. $10 exacta for that. Ran a good race, just was nowhere in the league of odds on Mr. Mamba.
Yeah, impressive performance. Once again, odds on Mr. Mamba, and you do hear Dexter Dunn maybe just kind of doing it all on his own, and have we even seen all the talent there from a superstar like this? That bright future ahead, that's all you can say.
That's scary if he did it all within himself and he's still got room to grow going into his 3-year-old season. So hopefully he comes back, and he comes back safe and sound and well.
Just as our man Gabe Pruitt said there, one more to go on tonight's program here on FS2. And we got the trot, 1 mile, 3-year-old colts and geldings, $250,000 one more time. And that winning streak is on the line here with On to Norway, the 2, and John DeLong.
Yeah, I mean, going for 17 in a row tonight, not bad, right? Again, we talk about how these horses that have won 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 in a row, you just wait for the other shoe to drop, and hasn't happened yet with some of these big name horses. They've been able to hold their form throughout the entire season. That's a testament to not only their abilities, but also the barns that they're coming out of, them keeping them happy and keeping them, in a good way and keeping them ready to go.
Yeah, and you talk about some of those performances that we have seen to keep those winning streaks going. I think we're going to take a look at those performances right now here as we go back and take a look at race number 5. A little bit earlier on tonight, it was a 3-year-old colt and gelding pace final. And you take a look at Rock Shines again, continues that streak, ends up going 13 for 13, Paul.
Yeah, 13 in a row for this horse, and couldn't have done it any easier, in this spot. So was able to draw away from this group and get the job done in here for Trace Tetrick and Tyler George. So solid runner. And it's funny to think that as a 2-year-old, this horse didn't win a race. It was 0 for 11, and now is 13 for 13 3-year-old season. It just goes to show you growing up and the production that these horses do.
Some long shots underneath, and then we saw a 2-year-old filly trot final, and this was an exhilarating race. It was right down to the wire, and we saw a very, very tight photo that ends up going to the longer shot in the field, but this was 4 days to the outside, and you saw the 6 and Help Cum Laude.
Biggest overlay of the night for me, for days, for sure, and she tried in the race before this to go with Help Cum Laude. Couldn't do it in that first over spot, and it wasn't like the fractions were all that taxing in here that Help Cum Laude set, but she just continued to trot on in the lane, and it took every inch of that long Hoosier Park stretch for her to get up here, as she will literally in the last stride.
Yeah, stretch seemed to last forever, 4 days getting up there in just the final jump, just by inches, game of inches. 2-year-old filly pace final, and whoop, this was one of the more impressive performances to my eyes, just how she powered away in the finish, but whoop was very, very impressive over some more blue, who was very stiff competition.
And we talk about how horses ebb and flow and some grow up and some catch others. This is exactly what's happened in the last few starts. Whoop has just blossomed into a horse that Some More Blue was early on in the season, being a perfect 7 for 7. Now, for as good as Whoop was, winning by open lengths here, Some More Blue, running second, was just as good against the rest of the field. But make no mistake about it, Whoop's a serious racehorse that has won open Grand Circuit races, not just state races.
Then it was race number 8. We talk about the 2-year-old colts and geldings. They were in this trot, and it was Premier Bluebird, one of those mid-range prices that we saw in the night. And we finally kind of saw somebody come from well off the pace as there was enough setup. Kind of an interesting trotted race, but Premier Bluebird down the center of the racetrack.
Ultimately, the race collapsed in here with Sunday Swagger setting a pace and just kind of giving way. And Dandy Man Ken did all that he could do, and he did all the dirty work. Took the lead there, but just got out-trotted by Premier Bluebird, who got a really sweet trip in here and was able to take advantage of a pace that collapsed in here for an upset in this spot, and 154-4, just a $4,500 purchase.
Kyle Wilfong there with that fist pump right there at the finish, just like that fist pump I give when I'm sitting right next to you, Paul Verderosa. Miracle Maven here is going to be another impressive performance on the card. I thought Whoop was probably the most impressive coming into this race, but this was where the field just could not catch Miracle Maven. She never came back.
Yeah, she was posted well in this spot, and she tripped out, and she just was way too good for this group in here. She powered away from them late on the trot and got the job done in here. And it's a nice little horse, too, and she's back on her game, now 6 for 10 this year, and got the big money in the final here. And she, look at her, she is just happy and going about her business in here and did it easily. That's an open length win.
They've been called the Super Finals, and we've seen some really, really superstar performances on the night. We still got one more. We're going to take a look at race number 11, and another winning streak is on the line. Will the hot streaks continue? It's on to Norway in Indiana. Goes for 17 straight wins. Come on back here on FS2. We got a winning streak to see on America's Day at the Races.
Premier Acres, located in northern Indiana, a premier breeding farm with state-of-the-art facilities and a team of dedicated caretakers. An impressive roster with some of the leading sires, including Temporal Hanover, Best in Show, Freaky Feet Pete, and more. Premier Acres, where winners are bred.
Saturday on America's Day at the Races, join Maggie Wolfendale on track live for the 40th edition of Jim McKay Maryland Million Day from Laurel Park. Back-to-back stakes races, including the Maryland Million Classic. Coverage begins noon Eastern on FS2. Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race from every track on every screen every day. Monthly packages starting as low as $5 per month. RTN gives you great value and access to more HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire.
Racetracks, casinos, slots, superfectas, you can gamble from anywhere all the time. You've just got to ask yourself, should I? Take a pause to stay in control and think about how much time you spend gambling. A pause can help you determine if you're gambling because you like to or you need to. A pause can help remind you there's more to the moment than your next wager. Visit oasis.ny.gov and take our survey to see if your gambling is becoming more than a game.
America's Day at the Races. Hoosier Park right now, but you can head on over to Naira Bets. It's brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. It's been a wonderful evening of great racing action, and we got still one more Standardbred race coming at you. 3-year-old colts and geldings in the trot. 1 mile is the distance, $250,000, $250,000. I like when Gabe says it like that. $250,000 is that purse. The 2 is on to Norway, and I think we're going to start with the 2 on to Norway here at a short price here in this post parade for race number 11. It's a big one coming up here, and it's a big win streak that's on the line. There's the 2. Paul, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, 16 in a row, you win it as easy as possible. It's what they've done all along. You tuck them in, you make one run, you trot away, and then you gear them down. So rinse, repeat. 17 in a row will be sweeter if you can get a lion's share of that $250,000 purse.
See, sounds good, right?
Yeah.
It sounds a little bit better. 250,000, good number. $250,000. Now we're talking.
Stacks.
There is the 2. Now we're talking about the 3 in Massive Desire. Trace Tetrick.
Good second. Last time out was 70 cents on the dollar, though, so did fail as the favorite in there. It's going to need probably a little bit more to knock off the 2 in here.
Kyle Wolfong, I think he's been feeling a little bit tonight. He's got operator here, 7-2.
Yeah, I don't know. Last race was a lot closer than it probably should have been for him. Did win the race, though. We'll see what we get tonight.
Eugene the Genius, Dexter Dunn.
Yeah, hot hand for Dex tonight. We'll see what he can do with this one. Finished third, half a length behind operator last time out as the race was falling apart. They were getting operator.
Yannick Gingras is going to have the 6 here. Me Helping You at 27-1.
Yeah, it was beat quite a ways by On to Norway the last time they met.
There's the 7 and sure did.
Yeah, 2 wins last couple of starts. Going to need to step it up a little bit more against this group, though.
Massive number here, Cody Kickstand.
Yeah, beat 4 1/4 last time, just 2 for 15 on the season.
Etley Bender here with the 9, Ponderaki.
Wasn't a bad win last time out in the Open, but he's had some struggles when he stepped up and faced this kind of competition.
And Bluebird Lady Chuck to the outside, 69-1.
Yeah, second tier horse been beaten double digits in the last 2 starts.
2-5 right now on to Norway. As you're looking for that win streak to continue, and we've seen all the win streaks pretty much continue. It's gone to form. Is this one in jeopardy here tonight?
I don't think so, because I think this is another horse that has been able to dictate where he wants to be in a race. He's comfortable in multiple spots. You know, he's got that one run, trots away, and you gear him down. And I think that this is almost going to be so much the same in this spot. And I mean, last time out, I mean, again, it was rinse repeat of what we've seen multiple times, you know, with this horse. Was able to get a good early tuck, got to the top, was able to trot away in the stretch and pulled away by 5 and it made it look easy, you know, at the end of the day.
And when you have this many wins in a row, you kind of have to always make your own luck in some respect as well. You can't just kind of show up and it's going to be the same type of race every time. But this performance here on that evening last week, this wins this race tonight.
I believe so, especially since I am not a big fan of operators last race. I think that this race puts this horse over the top in this spot.
All right. It's a 1 mile trot. It's on to Norway, and the price continues to go down because Paul Verderosa is giving you a slam dunk right now. The 2 is just going to go ahead and put it away. But we've seen it tonight. I mean, we have seen that favorites have been able to get the job done. Yeah, I know. Jess and Gabe are going to continue on with that favorite parade. But on to Norway seems like a prohibitive favorite, a deserving favorite, and you think that the win streak does continue.
Yeah, I think Team Burke's going to get the 17th win out of this horse this year. The horse that they only got this year as well.
All right.
So it's been a big season for Ron Burke, and he's got a big one here in this spot.
Jess Otten, Gabe Pruitt. I mean, Paul's making it sound like a slam dunk. Absolutely here in race number 11. Is it that simple for On to Norway?
Oh, I definitely think so, and I think Gabe would echo those thoughts as well. 16 in a row winning streak, that's just incredible.
And you talk about the success of trainer Ron Burke, as you guys just alluded to. They watched On to Norway race for his old connections. That was his first start of the year. Some of Ron Burke's owners reached out to try and buy him privately. They were fortunately able to do so. Part of the reason why they were able to do so, they let the old owner stay in, the black and white stable. They still own a piece of On to Norway. Since he's moved over to trainer Ron Burke, Jess, 16 in a row. That's when he started the win streak. You know, that puts him in very rare air. When you're talking about 3-year-old trotting colts, I think Donato Hanover had 19 at one point, Muscle Hill 20. On to Norway's, they've all come here to the state of Indiana. There are rumors out there that the connections are debating supplementing him. You can do so with the 3-year-old, maybe even to the Breeders' Crown. So I'm sure they're going to take a good assessment of how things go tonight. If he continues this win streak, you know, I think he really deserves a chance to not only face Indiana's best, but maybe some of the best in North America.
You know, he's got quite the resume, obviously, Gabe. He's got a good post to work with as well. He's got all the tools to overcome any sort of trip that's thrown at him. You can see down the program page, leave, sit, then pounce, or leave and just control things under his own way. So there's plenty of different options that John DeLong was probably confident in his colt with doing, with On to Norway off of the gate as the 3-year-old colt and gelding trotters make their way to the gate for the Indiana Sire Stakes Super Final. Here's Michael Chamberlain.
Is rolling for race 11. 1 to 5 on to Norway. Winner of 16 straight, trying to make it 17 and cap it off with a super final victory tonight. Field is now in the stretch. Here they come. They are off. Operator is sent out for the lead. Eugene the Genius On to Norway gets away well in third. Tarzan is next. Ponderaki from the outside. Then Massive Desire. To the outside of that is Me Helping You. Next is Bluebird Lady Chuck. Then Sure Did and Cody Kickstand. Eugene the Genius now taking over as they move past the quarter-mile mark in 27-2. Eugene the Genius in front, but On to Norway has shifted to the outside and is now moving into second and moving up after the leader. On to Norway on the move and up now to take the lead. Eugene the Genius is second. Operator is third. After that comes Ponderaki, then Tarzan. Moving to the outside is Massive Desire. Then another length back to Bluebird, Lady Chuck, and Me Helping You, who are traveling together. Then Sure Did and Cody Kickstand. Half mile, 55-4, 28-2 for the second quarter. 1 to 9 favorite, On to Norway, looking to extend the win streak to 17 straight. Has the lead moving on to the turn. Operator is moving up on the outside of Eugene the Genius to try and mount a challenge. Ponderaki is fourth, then Tarzan fifth. Then Massive Desire is to the outside with Me Helping You and Bluebird Lady Chuck. Into the stretch they come. 3/4, 124-1. On to Norway, the leader. Operator and Eugene the Genius. Then Ponderaki On to Norway with a 3-length lead coming to the final eighth of a mile. Eugene the Genius being urged along second. Then Operator is third. On to Norway. Eugene the Genius trying to rally up the inside, but it is On to Norway. The Oslo onslaught continues. 17 in a row. Photo for second with Operator and Eugene the Genius. Ponderaki held fourth, 152-2.
17 in a row does happen there for On to Norway. John DeLong picks up another victory on the evening. Ron Burke right to the winner's circle. Gabe, Jess, what more can you say? Your trackside.
A wave of the whip by driver John DeLong as On to Norway makes it 17 wins in a row, Gabe. He had to make a decision there in that opening panel, sit third or remove. He opted to remove and take things into his own hands.
Yeah, he really did. This was a heck of a horse race, but only for place because the winner was in a different orbit here. On to Norway really just cruised home here. He's just tons better than his Indiana competition, Jess. With that long winning streak. Operator in a bit of a duel there with Eugene the Genius. Again, that was a very tight place photo, but they're just unable to solve On to Norway. Again, a 1 to 9 favorite. He took all the late steam here and just continues his torrid run here as a sophomore. And it's going to be so interesting to see if those connections aside, to maybe supplement the upcoming Breeders' Crown.
Yeah, well, you just took the words out of my mouth. I got no say in it, Gabe, but if I were them, I would want to put this guy into the Breeders' Crown. An incredible feat for this guy here. Plenty versatile. Obviously, like I had said before they went to the gate, that he can really overcome any sort of trip that's thrown at him. He proved that once again tonight. On to Norway, the son of Muscle Massive gets the job done for Ron Burke and company and driver John DeLong.
Tremendous job there. Thank you very much, Jess Otten and Gabe Pruitt. And On to Norway, Paul, what do you think?
I think I would send him to the Breeders' Crown. It's time to supplement. Let him run against the best that's out there, and let's see what he can do, because as Gabe and Jess both said, this horse, and I say it earlier as well, he can create his own trip. He's very handy. So wherever you want him to be, that's where he's going to go. He's kind enough to take his cues and to be in that spot. And it's basically a rinse repeat of every race, except this time brushed him to the top a little bit earlier and just put that field away, because honestly, Operator was never going to go by. And even when he made that move first over, it just was not happening. And he couldn't even get past Eugene the Great for a second. in that spot.
And
So.
you do see some very happy faces in here, and you heard Gabe and you heard Jess talking about supplementing. And off of this form, 17 in a row, with that imposing record, it seems like maybe you do take that shot, as you were saying. But on to Norway. You kind of said it, but let me get Gabe and Jess in here one more time. Just kind of thoughts on wrapping this up, and with that 3-year-old colt, the trot champion there, impressive from On to Norway, and just overall the night for you guys there trackside.
Congratulations.
Yeah, an impressive night from top to bottom. We saw a 3-year-old earlier on in the night, Gabe, remain undefeated, 13 for 13. Odds on Mr. Mamba prevailed again, a 50 and change effort on a cold night, and on to Norway, 17 in a row.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint who's the superstar of the night. That Michael Chamberlain in his call said it was odds on Mr. Mamba. I suppose I'll go with that route too, but just a fantastic night showcasing the best of the best here in the state of Indiana.
Great job there, guys, out at Hoosier Park. It's been fun to join along with the two of you, of course, and with you, Paul Verderosa, right here at the desk. And it was impressive. Who was the best on the night for you? And we're going to take a look at prices here in just a second. Odds on Mr. Mamba, that was race number 10. We are going to see race number 11 there. On to Norway was the big winner, race number 11. But what did you think?
Whoomp.
Last word.
My girl, Whoomp. That's my girl. She's my jam. Best performance.
It was an impressive night of racing action, some standardbred action. We want to thank everybody again there at Harris Hoosier Park, the state of Indiana. It was a fantastic time as we saw some tremendous performances. Hey, the next show for America's Day at the Races is tomorrow. It's a great show. You got 12 to 6. You got the Maryland Million. You got great action here at Belmont at the Big A. The Thoroughbreds there from 12 to 6 tomorrow. Check your local listings. Right back here tomorrow. What a great night. On to Norway for America's Day at the Races.